Hello, and welcome back to the Great Lake Truck Series presented by Patty Engineering. We're at Richmond Raceway tonight for the Patty Engineering 175. Should be a lot of fun. I have Elliott Henderson in the booth with me. How you doing today, Elliott?
Feeling pretty good, man. I think we're in for a really solid treat tonight. We've got a bunch of guys up here that are known as your short track aces, and they've already started the night out pretty well through qualifying. So looking forward to seeing how these guys tackle this track. And I think it's a daytime race, so it'll be a little slidey out there. We'll potentially see some rough moves going on trying to get around people with how much grip they're not going to have on corner exit.
And of course, as always, in pit road, we got Alex. Alex, how you doing down there?
Doing all right. I'm expecting some interesting strategy for the day today, and I'll be looking to see what happens with crashes.
Should be a lot of fun here at Richmond Raceway, a 3/4 of a mile D-shaped oval. A lot of fun, short track racing. Points are real close heading into tonight. The top four in points are only separated by 2 points. And you look on the graphic there, 3 guys are already locked into the playoffs. You have Madalinas, Sensi, and Daniel Nanny already locked in. And then you see at the bubble, Ashton Lawson only in by a single point right now over Shane Neiswanger. And then Steve McLean and Christopher Huerta right there behind him. This is a close battle we got here, Elliott.
Yeah, I think it'll only get tighter as it goes on too. You've got a lot of guys out of the points right now, like Shane and Matt Daniels and Jordan Gonzalez, and I know Wattler's been fast, but a guy that's not even on this top 20 list is Jake Miller. Dude's been runner up the last 2 years and has arguably some of the better stats in the series. So look for him to make some moves tonight, potentially put himself in a spot that he could try to win and put himself into the playoffs. But yeah, this whole bubble is really interesting. And consider we have those guys back there that could still win races that aren't even on this list. It's very daunting knowing that we still have a bunch of races left.
Great Lake Truck Series. It's a 12-car playoff field, and it's win and you're in. And someone like Jake Miller, who's only been here for 3 out of the 6 races so far, he's shown a lot of speed in those 3 races. Tonight could possibly be his night. He was the quickest in practice. He's starting 7th. Long race here tonight, Elliott.
Yeah, 175 laps. Pit window's going to be about 50 to 52 laps as well. So they've got 4 sets of tires in the pits. Sorry to potentially take anything that Alex was going to say strategy-wise, but I'd be interested to see how they're going to use that stuff and see if they're going to stretch all the runs all the way. But cautions are probably going to be the biggest thing here. I mean, we see that quite often, that cautions could dump a race on its head. So we'll have to see exactly how these guys navigate that. And depending on how that goes, I'd just like to see what tire strategies look like. I mean, having run here enough, I think 20 to 25 laps, you're going to want to take tires at that chance if the yellow does come out. But with the limited sets, with the amount of laps they have in the fuel window, it'll definitely be interesting to see the calls. And I think that that's going to potentially mix up exactly what we end up seeing. We may not see the fastest guy win tonight, like we did in the Cup Series last week, I believe.
Should definitely be a lot of fun. Not sure if the pace truck's pulling off this time. Does not look like he is. I'll give you some of the starting lineup. On the pole, Daniel Nanny in the number 30 machine, and then starting on the inside as Nanny has chosen the outside lane is Christopher Heller in the number 36 machine.
Yeah, I was also excited to announce Ryan Potter up there in third. He's only made one start this season. Bristol Dirt started 33rd, ended up 31st, got caught up in some messes. But good to see him back. He's been stapled the last few seasons. Good to see him back up in third. Hunter Madalinas to his outside in fourth.
Then starting in the 5th position, you've seen a lot of speed out of him, Ashton Lawson, and then on the outside is Justin Mons looking to have a good run tonight.
Jake Miller on his bounce back return, starting 7th. Steve McLean in the 8th spot there.
Then rounding out your top 10, you have Michael Sensi, who's in that top 4 battle for the points lead, and then Brandon Kaufman as the pace truck pulls off. The number 30 of Daniel Nanny is going to lead him down to the green flag, and the Patty Engineering 175, and the green flag is out.
Chris did not get a great start. You've got Hunter right to his outside now, and we're going to have a battle for about 3rd or 4th there too. But it looks like Nanny's going to get a nice jump off the corner, and Chris is going to be battling Hunter for that 2nd spot.
Hunter Madalinas has shown a lot of speed this season. He's right there in the thick of things for the points lead, trying to get another victory on the year in the number 9 machine. He's going to fall back to 3rd for now as the top 5 have singled out.
Yeah, Hunter's been really impressive this season. He's been one of the guys that ended up coming up out of nowhere. Hasn't really done too much previously, but he's shown that he was going to be a winner that last couple seasons, and he's put it to the test this season with a couple wins now. We've got a lot of shuffling in the back there. I don't know who's in that tan truck around near Frederick Cremines, and I believe that's Jordan Gonzalez getting loose off turn 3. That's Hunter Brittle starting to go backwards a little bit. He was 3 wide for a second. That got a little dicey.
Definitely some heavy racing back there. You see William Barbagelata, and on the inside getting really loose in that number 3 machine is Jordan Gonzalez, able to hang on to it. Frederick Cremines in the middle right now. Barbagelata looking to follow Cremines through possibly. 3 wide battle still off turn 4. William Barbagelata has nowhere to go right now.
Yeah, you can see the whole front half of this pack, probably 15th-ish on up, is all single file. So all the racing's going to happen around 20th on back here, 15th on back. And man, these guys trying the inside lane, like I said, it's going to be really hard to try to maintain tires, keep that grip on exit. These trucks do have a good bit of horsepower, so trying to get off that corner, put the power down, and not kill the rear tire is going to be crucial. And being that this is a daytime race, you're going to want to keep that rear power and that rear grip down as much as you can. You're going to want it later on in the run when a lot of these other guys start to struggle.
Great point, Elliott. And also, if you guys watch the Cup Series race, we've noticed on these longer runs, the middle lane, and even some drivers even taking the very high lane up against the wall, seems to get a little quicker as the run goes on. So definitely be on the lookout for that, as well as you're looking at Hunter Madalinas having a good run so far in the 3rd spot in the number 9 machine, trying to drive down the top 2 of Daniel Nanny and Christopher Heller as they begin to possibly battle it out for the lead.
Yeah, I wish someone mentioned that Spencer Dickinson was up there running that 3rd line when I went back and watched the race. Got a battle for the lead here. Chris put a nose under Daniel Nanny, but that outside lane is going to be pretty dominant. It's going to be hard to pass on the inside like Chris just proved. Trying to get that run on exit is where you're going to want it, and then to try to get down, be about door or even with them going into the next corner, preferably 3 and 4. The bottom will still work decently well, but that outside line is going to be really, really tough to get around because they can just pinch you down on corner exit and really stall your momentum as you try to get up off the corner.
Richmond, always a lot of fun. Definitely a track that really wears up tires if you don't take care of them. Watched on the screen right there, it looked like the 36 almost got into the wall off of turn 2. Good save from the number 36 machine. Still a very long race, only on coming on lap number 9 right now. You're looking at Daniel Nanny still leading the field. He's led every lap so far in the number 30 machine after starting on the pole.
You know, we've got a name towards the back, a couple names towards the back, like Jacob Manning, Jake Miller, and Shane Nicewanger are all back here. These guys are all pretty competitive guys, usually top 5 efforts whenever they're in the field, and they're all stuck back here around 10th to 15th spot. So see if they make their way up as we got Ryan Potter in the wall. Jake Miller's going to try to make some ground out of that as well. But Ryan Potter had a really good start, and I think he's just kind of, he hit the wall again there off turn 2 pretty hard. I don't know if they got close to each other. The angle I'm looking at is probably not ideal, but Ryan had a really good starting spot, again, 3rd, and just kind of, I don't know if the truck's too loose, too tight for him, but he has caught the wall a couple times, and he's gone backwards from it.
Ryan Potter, I feel like, just needs to kind of drive his own race. He had a very good qualifying effort. Just needs to take it easy. We might have a really long run here at Richmond. Just take it easy and don't hurt those tires more than you already have.
Yeah, the bad thing for him now is he's in a spot where a lot of these guys are just ganged up on the inside, and he's not going to have room to just get down to the bottom and rim ride if he can. So he's going to need to try to slot in somewhere. But the damage shouldn't be terrible. He caught the wall really hard off 2 that one time, but it shouldn't be bad if he can get a caution, get it repaired, and still come out of here with a solid effort. The damage shouldn't hinder him too much as long as it wasn't really front end. It looked like it was mainly side though.
Yeah, a track like this, I don't think that's really going to affect him too much in the number 99. Still a very long race for Ryan Potter, so he can come onto pit road and fix that on a future caution if we get one.
Watching just behind, Jordan Gonzalez is driving it down in these corners. That's right behind all this action with Frederick Cremines right in front of him. They're 3 wide right in front of those 2. It's going to get tight with William Barbagelata, Ryan Potter, and that's Noah Brady on the bottom, I think making his first start tonight. So kudos to Noah Brady showing up out here, making some passes, trying to make up some ground. But you could just see how tight. Oh, Potter caught the wall. Yeah. Really bad.
It's hit hard on the right side. A lot of damage to the number 50.
Jordan also caught a piece of that with the front of the truck. That's probably not ideal for him. He's going to have to watch those temps depending on how hard he got them. May do some engine damage to him, but good job for them not actually turning that into a yellow flag. It could have had Potter turned, but they kept it going.
I'm surprised there wasn't an accident right there. A lot of cars right there under a blanket. Somehow no accident, but a lot of damage to Jordan Gonzalez. You're looking at the number 3 machine right now. A lot of damage to the right side of Cremines. And then a lot of damage to Ryan Potter on both sides of the car and the bumper.
So I know we've been focused on the back half here. There's been no change up front. Heller is wrapping that yellow line while Nanny's running about a quarter of a lane off of it. But Heller's not really making up too much ground, just stalking his prey right now. Probably going to see how these tires really last all the way through. He seems to have a much better run through the center. I wonder if that's hurting his exit speed at this point. As you can see, Nanny just drives off turn 2 a little bit better than Heller does. So we'll have to see how that comes in. Meanwhile, you've got Hunter Madalinas and Justin Mons. Hunter running the outside, arcing down, a little bit of Chase Elliott line. That's his favorite driver as well. So no surprise there. Going to mimic a 2020 champion. And Justin Mons making a solid effort right there in fourth. So we'll see how these guys really navigate this and if they start gaining each other. But that battle for the lead's not really changing too much.
One guy I've been watching the last few laps came into this race on the bubble when it came to the playoffs. Ashton Lawson, he's been on the move the last couple laps. Didn't get off to a too good of a start, but he's gotten those positions back, and he's back in the 5th spot now. And he's as fast as the leaders. That last time by, he was actually a little quicker than both the leaders. So Ashton Lawson's on the move in the number 24 machine as you check his onboard.
Yeah, and I believe we saw that pass for third up there too. Justin Mons completed that. And he's going to set sights on Chris Heller, but Ashton is just making do with what he's got. Again, started 5th, dropped back a little bit, right back to 5th. New paint scheme, new Ashton today a little bit. Maybe he can put that thing in victory lane for us.
Justin Mons moved up to the 3rd spot in front of Hunter Madalinas now. Hunter Madalinas, his tires seem to be falling off a little bit. It seems like a little more than some of these other guys right now. You have to wonder if maybe he was driving a little too hard early on in that run. And I would like to say hi to Brandon Barkuski in the chat. Yeah, Jordan Gonzalez can't really seem to catch a break so far this season. He's shown a lot of speed here in the truck series, but just hasn't had the finishes to show for it, unfortunately.
Surprised they've run green this long. We're over 20 laps in. It's pretty solid. It looks like Nanny's starting to stretch it out a little bit on Heller now, and they've actually got lap traffic up in front of them a good bit, about 2 or 3 seconds out. So they will get to navigating that pretty soon, but pretty stout field, just running nice and comfortable. We'll see how long this run lasts all the way through.
And Nanny's going to be approaching the back of this field pretty quickly, as James Shiflett is currently the last guy on the lead lap. And that last time by, Daniel Nanny ran almost a full second quicker than Shiflett. So he's going to be at his bumper very soon. And then you have a couple of guys in front of him, like Caleb DeSorda, who almost wrecks off the backstretch as I was looking at it. Looking at Eric Kep on the front stretch right now, battling with Aiden DuPont.
Yeah, a quick little note here as well. Gavin Fitzgerald, who's very high up in points, is having what we would consider an off day today. Currently running 37th. A lot of damage done to that truck as well. Not the night he was looking for. I'm not exactly sure. I believe it looks like he started. Sorry, sorting through the order here, but I'm not getting updates anymore as to where he started. Fortunately, it looks like he's caught the wall a couple times and just not having the day that he was hoping to have tonight. Running I think he was like 5th in points coming in here, so solid effort. Just wanted to maintain that, but a 37th place finish with a yellow.
Caution's out. It looks like Wattler and the number 56 is involved.
Another
By the way,
major
Gavin
points player.
Fitzgerald started in the 36th spot. Try to get you a replay on the incident that just happened. It looked like with Kevin Wattler, who's right outside the bubble right now, around 15 points outside the top 12 coming into today. Number 56 machine looking for a good run. So you're going to see a replay here with Kevin Wattler and the number 56. He's down on the inside, and you see Briar Fritz right behind him in the 77. And couldn't really tell from that angle what had happened, but it looked like there was definitely some contact between Fritz and Wattler.
Couldn't tell if Wattler just maybe didn't get off the corner as well as Briar, and Briar expected him to go up to the wall, but there was another truck out there. Kevin couldn't really clear himself, and Briar just kind of ran him over. I think it looks like Briar thought he was clear to the inside, like had his inside, and it was just a miscalculation. Caught him in the rear corner and turned the 56 around. It's going to be painful for Kevin. He had a really good run in points going. He's now running last on the lead lap here, and he'll have to sort that back out and try to get to the get back up to the front.
Taking another look at it here. Kevin Wattler looked like he just tried to jump in onto that high side, and Fritz wasn't quite expecting it and kind of got into the back of him. Still a very long race, and I don't really see... I see a decent amount of damage to Wattler, but I think it's definitely repairable to the point where he could still be competitive in that number 56 machine. Is the leaders are on pit road. Well, close race off pit road. It looked like Heller or Nanny got off pit road first. I could not tell. That was really close. Was it Mons? Mons might have gotten off pit road first. That was close. Looks like Nanny got off first in the number 30 machine, followed by Heller and then Justin Mons. Drivers lining up for the restart. Gonna send it down to Alex.
Well,
some
Kyle,
pit road update.
I'm surprised to not see anybody try to stay out here. Yes, we ran 26 laps on this set of tires, but I suppose drivers, unlike the Cup Series last week where they only had 3 sets of tires in the pit lane, I guess everybody saw that they had 4 and felt a lot more comfortable pitting this time by. This will make it very interesting later on in the race if you get a string of cautions to see how the strategy will play out now that everybody's taken at least one of the sets.
I wasn't quite looking at lap times. I'm trying to look now, but I mean, they started the race running about 22.5s and dropped all the way to 23.5s. So they're a second off. So I don't know. Staying out may have been a call. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't try it this early in the race. Again, it's 175 lapper. It's worth it, but I don't think anybody was particularly fond of that strategy. So we'll see. I thought they'd pit around 20, 25 laps every time if there was a caution about every 20 laps. So they made me right so far. We'll see if they continue to do that, but I would expect guys to stay out a little bit longer. Try it at least. You might get a lucky break, get a lucky caution. Those guys that are running back in 20th might be able to put themselves in a top 5 spot.
Yeah, because some of these drivers, their only real shot of winning the race is just trying something different, and that would possibly be a great idea for them, Elliott, just to try something different with the strategy when it comes to fueling and tires.
Yeah, I feel like typically, if you're going to try that, now would be the time versus waiting, halfway through the race and losing all of your track position. Take a shot at it now, hope 15, 20 laps goes by. It's a full field, it's not like we're sitting here with 15 drivers, so you lose 15 spots. If you were 20th, I mean, that's a net gain of 5 as far as I'm concerned, and pray that the caution comes out in 15 laps, try to hold off as many guys as possible, and hopefully they all pit again, and then you've saved your set. But no strategy calls here. Everyone decides to pit, so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We definitely will, as we're about to take the green flag. The pace truck pulls off, and the green flag is out. Nanny off to a good restart with Madalinas right behind him, and the 36 of Heller to the inside. Now there's a battle for second. Heller is trying to clear the number 9 off turn 2. He's having a good run down the backstretch, looking to clear Madalinas going into 3. Justin Mons right in behind him in the number 39 machine. He looked really fast at the end of that last run, the number 39 of Justin Mons.
Man, Hunter came here to race. He pinched Chris down. He knows this is a solid chance to try to get to second, try and track down Nanny. I think Hunter realizes, like, if he's going to get this spot, he needs to try to go now, and he's really trying to work Chris over on that outside lane. Question is, how much tire are either of these guys going to use trying to clear each other? They almost door contact off of turn 4 there. They're racing hard for it. They both want this spot.
Yeah, they're definitely racing hard for that second spot right there. As you saw on your screen, almost contact between Heller and Madalinas off turn number 4. Looked like Heller got a little loose after the almost contact, and these guys continue to battle going into turn 3. Madalinas has a slight advantage, but then here comes Heller on the inside and just makes that advantage go away. Just when you think one person's about to clear the other one comes right back. This is a fantastic battle for the second spot right now, as there's almost contact right there as well.
Heller drove in way too hard. That's going to eat him up. Hunter is going to be clear. Here comes Mons on the attack. Heller's going to send it back into 3. He still wants it. Hunter's going to have the shot off the corner now, and Mons is going to eat up the scraps off of Heller.
It almost looked like they might have touched right there. That was really close between Heller and Madalinas, as Justin Mons is now going to try to get past Heller on the outside. And now he's going to possibly set his sights on Hunter Madalinas for the second spot.
And look who we haven't talked about at all. The number 4 truck, Jake Miller, the guy who's finished second in points for 2 straight seasons, up in the top 5. He says, I want to come play, and he's going to set sights on Chris Heller.
I see Jacob Bransky in the chat. I know he's happy about that. Jake Miller, the self-proclaimed Season 4 champion, the number 4 truck, making moves, trying to get past Heller on the outside now in that white number 4.
That was very smart of Jake. He waited it out. He waited for Mons to kind of stack Heller up in the corner there, trying to get down to the bottom. And then Heller had to take the bottom, and Jake Miller was able to go around the outside. He's looking at the outside of Mons. He's trying to get these runs. Mons isn't very quick through the center, and that's where Heller is really good. But you can see where that just killed Chris's momentum on the exit because he couldn't get back in the gas so early because he was trying to roll through the center. And Jake will clear him into 3, and Jake sets sights on P3 now.
And on this run, Christopher Heller looks like a completely different driver. On that first run, I say he was a little bit quicker than Nanny, just trying to pick his time, pick his moment, pick his time to make the pass. And now he's beginning to fall back a little bit on these guys.
I think he, that attack at the beginning of the race wasn't as prolific as what Hunter just put on him. So he was able to kind of clear, I forget who started 4th or whoever it was, but I think it was actually still Hunter, but I don't think anybody else got as good as a start as Heller did on the beginning when he started up in 2nd on the inside. So that time Hunter was able to stay right with him, able to clear him on the outside by pinching him down, not giving him too much room on exit, and it just, Heller got freight chained on the bottom lane. So you could see him starting to work the outside here, seeing if maybe that's where he can go get some extra grip. He's definitely not off pace. He's just trying to get his bearings back, and we'll see if he can go back up there and attack Jake and Justin pretty soon.
The guy that's been on the move since that restart is the number 16 of Jacob Manning. He's been on the move so far in this race. Got a couple of spots early, but ever since this last restart, he's been moving. He got past Steve McLean, he got past Sensi, Nicewanger. He's on the move. That number 16 truck, definitely keep an eye out for him as he's putting pressure on the number 24 of Ashton Lawson right now.
Yeah, we know that Jacob Manning's pretty quick, so it's no surprise to see him running up here. Another name that I just want to shout out, who's gained 8 spots right now. Didn't realize he came over from the GT series. We see Ryan Potter hit pit road, I believe that is. That's Brent Kingcott. Sorry, I just want to make sure I pronounce that right. Up 8 spots. Started this race in 20th. Currently running 12th. GT driver. Has won a couple races over there, as far as I know. And just decided I'm going to jump over here, try the trucks out now that GT season's over, and we're going to give it a shot. And he's making hay over here. He's running 12th, doing a nice solid job, and trying to make his way up through the field.
He's definitely on the move, the number 6 machine. He's looked really fast as he's been coming through the field so far. Looked pretty quick on this restart so far, but he's kind of stalled out right now behind Ross Brockman.
Yeah, I think these guys are learning that in this sunlight, it's hard to pass. I mean, now they've got some decent shade, so you can see the insides coming in a little bit more, but I'd expect these guys to move up to the top a little bit better because, that'll provide more grip, and they'll be able to wrap that, they want to arc down into the bottom lane, and I'm surprised they're just running the bottom. I mean, that is the lane I usually prefer, but you can see what Mons did by running the top, getting down a little bit and arcing it off. He got a really nice diamond on corner exit. He's just going to straight up clear Hunter in 3 and 4, come right up. Hunter catches the outside wall. Wow. Not good for Hunter, but Mons to 2nd, and Jake Miller follows him through to 3rd.
Looking at that battle now, Jake Miller, the number 4 truck, he's been on the move all race, really. He's been the fastest car, I'd say. Other than maybe Daniel Nanny. Daniel Nanny's definitely shown his speed, but he hasn't really had to battle anybody as of yet. So it'd be interesting to see if Jake Miller can get up there to the 2nd spot. Maybe even Justin Mons, because Mons has been really strong on the long runs. He showed that on the last run.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Justin can do. I mean, he's been decently fast in a lot of these events and just hasn't had the best of luck in some of these races. So I'd like to see. Oh, I think he caught the wall too. There goes Jake to the inside. He's going to clear him into turn 1. Wow. Mistakes happening right now.
Justin Mons, he's just I don't know, he has like a black cloud over his head or something. Him and Jordan Gonzalez, they both have had just horrible luck this season. They've both looked so strong in multiple races, but just one thing led to another, and they're either out of the race or has a lot of damage or something just goes wrong with their days, unfortunately. Mon's currently in the third spot after hitting the wall, so hoping to see him recover and possibly compete for the win here today in the number 39.
I can't believe how quickly Daniel Nanny has caught a ton of traffic. I'm not sure if these are guys that maybe didn't take tires and stayed to the back and, didn't want to take that set initially or what's going on, but he is, I mean, I guess he was catching cars at this pace anyway, but this is a huge group of cars. Guys hitting the wall in front of him. I think that's Justin Bend in the outside wall. It's going to be a lot for him to deal with, a lot more than the traffic that they saw early on. So we'll see how he negotiates it. We'll see how Jake negotiates it as we get a battle for fourth with Chris Heller and Hunter Mandolinas side by side.
Heller's been moving the last couple of laps, the number 36. Wasn't that quick at the beginning of this run, but now he's been coming through. He's battling Hunter Madalinas off the almost contact. Madalinas got a little loose off turn 2, and it looks like Heller is going to clear him going into turn 3, and Ashton Lawson's going to try to follow him behind. Not quite clear was Heller as they almost make contact again. These two just keep on racing so hard.
You can see just how difficult it is to clear that guy that's on the outside. Jake Miller going 3 wide against some traffic up there. Wow. Justin Ma's going to follow him through as well. Those guys are being pretty dicey. They're wrecking right behind Hunter. I believe Hunter caught the wall with Chris.
Action all over the racetrack here in Richmond as the caution's out for the second time here today in the Paddy Engineering 175. Sounds like it might have been Jacob Manning that had spun around. The commentator curse for the 16 of Jacob Manning. He was looking strong in the number 16. I'd love to see a replay on the incident right there.
It looks like Manning just goes up there, gives Hunter a love tap, and it was the wrong angle, I guess. These trucks are they're sliding a lot. It doesn't look like they're doing it, but the reason, Justin Mons hit the wall and Hunter hit the wall, like these trucks are sliding a ton on that corner exit, especially off 4, but off 2, they're still doing it. And as we watch the replay here, you can see Jacob just gets a really good run, and he's just going to try to push Hunter, and it just dumps him the wrong way, puts him into the outside wall. Hunter's trying to save it and get it straight, and it's losing so much momentum that Manning can't lift quick enough, and Manning then gets run over by, I believe that was Steve McLean, who had nowhere to go and was just in the middle of it. But very unfortunate circumstance for Manning, who had a solid run going after starting midfield there. So, man, here comes that bit of attrition. We're already seeing a little bit of that aggression here early on. Again, only 50 laps into this race. There's 125 more of this. So it's interesting to see them trying to get this aggressive and push down the backstretch. But I think Jacob just thought he was doing what was right, and it did not help Hunter out at all.
While you guys were seeing the replay there, definitely some interesting circumstances now. Definitely some stuff just happened on pit road. As you saw, Daniel Nanny came down pit road, and most of the field stayed out. You had a couple of takers like Ross Brockman. I think Brandon Kaufman came down pit road. Cremines came down pit road. Fritz. A couple other guys came down, but most of the field stayed out, including your new race leader, the number 4 of Jake Miller, the season 4 champion.
I mean, 125 laps left. He might as well try it now. Did he actually stay out or did he take 2 tires? If he stayed out, that's...
Most of the field stayed out, Elliott.
Okay. That's the call. I mean, I'm surprised to, it's that case of if Nanny's going to pit, you might as well do the opposite. Now he's got to start back there and all those guys, and he doesn't have that extra set of tires that these guys all have. So that is definitely something to watch for here. It's going to be interesting to see if Jake can make hay with that lead group, and Chris can be able to start third once again. So we'll see if he can, or actually he's been starting second, so we'll be able to see if he can do something from third now.
Alex, do you get me here in the booth? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
What do you think of this strategy of all these guys staying out?
Well, this is more along the lines of what I was expecting earlier in the race. I mean, especially after they took that set of tires and now they've seen a couple cautions come out. I mean, this soon into the race, they're probably expecting more to come out. So I'm not surprised to see this many people stay out this time by.
Thanks for your input, Alex. Looking at the pace truck to see if the lights are going to go out this time by. I think they will. Interested to see if Jake Miller will pick the high side or the inside on this restart, as the lights are out on the pace truck, and it looks like Jake Miller in the number 4 will take the outside lane, which will put Justin Mons down low in the number 39 and that gamer advantage machine.
That's not going to help Heller out, and I'm kind of I don't really understand the pick to the outside. I figured you'd want the inside to get the drive in, make sure you're clear of the guy, but I guess they think that they can get a big enough run where they don't really need it. So it's interesting to see the outside calls all night tonight, but that probably doesn't benefit Heller, but I'm sure that gives Hunter Madalinas a little bit of hope here because he knows that Mons caught the wall. So they might be on even grounds here with their damage and how their trucks are driving, and Jake might be able to use that to his advantage to drive away.
Pace truck pulls off, and the green flag is back out here at Richmond. And a great restart from Miller and Madalinas as they get off to a 1-2 start, it looking like, as Madalinas is going to try to clear Mons going into 1, but wasn't quite able to, and now they're going to come off 2, and Madalinas has the run off and will clear him.
Yeah, Jake got exactly what he wanted. I'll tell you who also got what they wanted, Chris Heller. He was able to get right to that outside of Justin Mons. He's going to battle for 3rd, but he doesn't have anybody to contend with behind him, as he didn't catch the wall. I thought he was going to catch the wall there. Got me a little nervous, but he's going to be able to battle Justin here. He's not really pinching him too much, so he's trying to be nice and smooth. Just be nice to him and say, I want this spot, but I'm not going to pressure you maybe as hard as Hunter was pressuring him earlier. So we'll see if those favors get returned, if Chris can get over to Madalinas and see if he can race him hard. But another charger you got up here is Shane Nicewanger. He's made his way up here. I think Chris got the wall. Yep.
Not sure if he got the wall or not, but it was definitely close if he didn't. I think he might have slowed down so he didn't get the wall.
I'm telling you, it is not easy to make sure that that pass works on that outside lane. The truck really wants to go straight a lot more than you want it to. I mean, the rear end is trying to slide. The front of the truck's trying to go straight. You really can't tell what it's trying to do until you're completely off the corner. Doesn't seem like he has any damage there, so he either caught it very minimally or just woed up to avoid any type of contact. But these guys are all racing pretty hard here. We're going to go back and try to see if we can find Daniel Nanny as well.
Oh, 36 is in the wall. He's actually in the wall this time. Christopher Heller gets in the wall. You saw it there. Heller struggling here early on the run. He's going to lose a couple spots on that one.
Yeah, he's got some heavy damage to the rear of the truck now, and Shane's going to try to pick up those pieces.
And Nicewanger looking to take over the spot. Shane Nicewanger in the number 49 machine looking to move himself into the 6th spot, trying to clear Heller going into turn 3 and 4. William Barbagelata right behind them. I think Barbagelata might have even gotten a little bit of damage from that incident that just happened.
Meanwhile, Nanny's made up very minimal ground, still running about 28th, 29th here, so I don't know that new tires are going to be that beneficial with this big of a field. It's going to be hard to try to drive up through there, being the only guy at the pit.
That top 6 is really calm, cool, and collected, but then you just see a huge pack of cars. Look at all these trucks go flying by your screen. Look at all these trucks.
They just bunched up really, really hard in the corner. I believe that was between Brittle, Sensi, and Shane, and all those guys. They all just kind of hit each other they all just kind of brake checked each other. It looked like they were all just kind of bouncing off each other in the middle of 3 and 4. They got it sorted, but I'm interested to see if any of those guys got some significant front end damage from that. Eric Kep was also involved.
Definitely getting really racy as we're around a third of the way through this thing right now. So still very early. I don't see the need to race this aggressive this early, but guys are really trying to get themselves in a good track position. It's hard to pass here at Richmond.
Justin Mons and
that track position.
Hunter Madalinas have been going at it very hard for this 2nd spot. You've got Ashton Lawson and Steve McLean right there with them. That's a battle for 2nd, all 4 of them right on top of each other. Meanwhile, Jake Miller, like I said, this is what he wanted. He wanted these guys to just race hard. He's checked out. This is perfect strategy for Jake Miller. Exactly what he needs to do. He's got a nice group behind him, and then an even bigger gap back to William Barbagelata, Mr. Excitement, who's now crept his way up into the 6th spot.
Jake Miller is just chilling up there. He's drinking a Jack and Coke, just hanging out. He's almost a straightaway ahead right now of 2nd place, around 2/3 of a straightaway ahead in that number 4 machine. You see how small those trucks are in the background. Justin Mons in the 2nd spot.
It's a pretty solid 2-second gap that he's got now, so if he can just keep that thing going, he'll be in a really good spot. Meanwhile, you've got Michael Sensi moving his way up, trying to battle Shane Nicelonger for that 7th spot, and Christopher Heller still right there, staying with him, but suffering through that damage right now.
Looking at Michael Sensi and Nicelonger battling it out. Nicelonger currently holding off the number 92 of Michael Sensi for that 7th spot. Christopher Heller has been continuously falling back as he's currently in the 9th spot right behind these guys. And Aaron Duclos rounds out your top 10. The guy that's been on the move lately, though, I would say is Hunter Brittle. Hunter Brittle was definitely struggling on that early run today. But on this most recent run, he's definitely been moving up as he's moved himself up to the 11th spot.
Yeah, I think Hunter Brittle shocked us a little bit last week at Kansas with a solid run until he ended up in the wall and, you know, didn't get to finish that I believe he thought he was going to end up with there. But another guy that's really driven up through here is Matt Durr. Matthew Durr has been really just kind of Mr. Consistent, I'd say, recently. And he finds himself right here again, right outside the top 10, just picking away. But he started all the way back 26 spots from where he currently is. Damn, about last. I mean, 30, 38, 36 on the start. So to find himself all the way up here in 12th right now, has got to be feeling pretty good. I'm not sure if maybe he took tires on either caution or if he's just driven around all these guys, but to find himself up inside the top 15 after where he started with still 100 laps left to go plus has got to make him feel really good right now.
Matthew Durr definitely needing a good run today, coming into today 11th in the points, just inside that cut line for the playoffs. And I think he's really figured out his formula, Elliott. Earlier on in the season, he had such great qualifying runs and just had a lot of bad luck. Well, today, like you said, he started around 38 and he's up here. I think his new strategy is just don't qualify.
Yeah, I think he figures, you know, if I qualify great and I run poorly, I might as well qualify poorly and try to run great. And I mean, so far, 70 laps in, he's off to a great start. So we'll see how it all pans out for him. But I feel like he could definitely be a playoff player if he's able to sneak his way in there. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he finds himself a win before these playoffs start.
He's definitely shown some speed. He definitely had some speed at IRP earlier on the season. I want to say he started on the pole, had a lot of speed there, but just had a lot of bad luck at Lucas Oil Speedway, the track of many names, as we mentioned that track before. But you see Matthew Durr continue to move his way through the field as he's trying to take the 11th spot from Hunter Brittle.
Yeah, I think the other impressive thing, I mean, Michael Sensi has made quick work of a lot of these guys. I don't remember where he started on the restart, but he is quickly trying to pin Hunter Madalinas and put him in 6th. So Michael Sensi, the man that comes here 3rd in points, technically about 1st or 2nd if you look at the grid order based off wins. He is no slouch, man. I mean, I think a lot of people may have thought, hey, Daytona's a fluke. It's always a fluke. We'll see how he pans out, but you know, 6, 7 races into the season, he is constantly a top 5 threat and is finishing in the top 10 in half the starts this season. So he's definitely showing that he's here to stay, just past Hunter Madalinas for 5th now.
Yeah, Madalina's tried to do a little bit of a crossover move to Sensi going into 3, but he just wasn't quite close enough as now Sensi begins to drive away and caution. A caution flag is here at Richmond, our 3rd caution of the day. And Jake Miller is not happy on the radio as he was driving away. He was just flying those last couple of laps. The number 4 machine.
He had over a 3-second lead and was running over a 10th quicker than essentially anybody else in the field. I mean, he was honestly just killing it speed-wise. The interesting thing is what Daniel Nanny does here. Is Daniel Nanny going to end up staying out? That was, again, they keep having these cautions like 20 laps in. We'll see. We'll see who actually does what. I'm hearing Alex say that Nanny wrecked, though.
Yeah, I'm looking at Daniel Nanny's back bumper. He has a lot of damage to the back of that 30 machine. So I'm thinking he was involved in that accident right there, Elliott. Maybe that strategy just destroyed him.
Yeah, I have some unfortunate news for the drivers in the booth here is that coming off turn 2, going down the backstretch, Daniel Nanny made contact, and well, as you see it on screen right now, he is not looking good.
I don't know who that was that he made contact
Ross
with.
Brockman. Looks like Ross Brockman, who's your points leader coming into today by 1 point over William Barbagelata.
Richmond is not being kind to strategy calls tonight. I thought Nanny, like, if it wasn't Nanny that was the yellow, I was going to say that strategy worked about to the degree that he'd probably want it to, but it turns out that that's not going to work out in his favor, and he'll be the one with damage this time. So I guess at this point, if now you know that that's what happens when you pit and no one else does, you're going to want to pit with the rest of the group because you're not going to want to go back there and deal with that mess. And it looks like we've got a lot of split decisions here of who wants to pit and who doesn't. It looks like, oh no, it looks like Brandon and them are going to come back down anyway. So looks like the whole field's going to pit this time. No weird strategy calls again, and we'll get what we get out of that. But obviously, very frustrating for Daniel Nanny, who thought that maybe he was making the right call, and I guess trying to drive up back through that pack just ended up being too much at some point, and I'm going to call it a racing incident. It just kind of looked like they came off the corner and just got together, but definitely hurts to see him go from pole sitter and potentially the fastest truck back to where he's at now, which is about 30th.
Daniel Nanny, your pole sitter, he's led the most laps so far today, and his race is probably over early, it's looking like, as he has a lot of damage to that back bumper. I think he'll be able to continue to get points, but I think his opportunity of possibly winning this race could be over. Daniel Nanny in the number 30 machine, getting a lot of repairs done on pit road as you're looking at Jake Miller, who will inherit the race lead back after drivers came down pit road the second time. And have a lot of wave arounds, it looks like, right there. A lot of drivers staying out in front of Jake Miller trying to get their laps back.
Yeah, you have to respect the strategy call that Nanny had that early. I mean, again, we're still a little under 100 laps away from the finish of this one, so he made the call at the right time, I feel like. You know, if you're going to try it, you might as well try it. It's just the unfortunate side effect of literally nobody pitted with him. And, you know, you typically want at least, I mean, if 15, 20 guys come in, like you'd figure the guys towards the back would pit, but absolutely nobody came in with him. And he restarted about 30th and just never gained spots back. So, um, pretty unfortunate to his strategy call. But again, there is attrition here. There's 100 something, well, not 100 laps left now, about 95, 94 left now, but that's a lot of time for these guys to have wrecks, have blown engines, have pileups. There's a lot that can happen here at Richmond. One car incidents can turn into 10 car incidents pretty quickly. So never give up. Just keep going at it, and I'm sure he'll see the checkered flag in a better position than where he's running right now if he sticks with it.
I've said it many times here in the Great Lakes Series, whether it's the trucks or the cup, the first half of these races are very clean, but then the second half of these races, cautions breed cautions, and we're right around halfway here, so I could definitely see more cautions here today. But Jake Miller so far seems to be outsmarting everybody and seems to be the quickest truck out there today. The truck pulls off, and Jake Miller leads down to the green flag. A lot of speed on that restart. Lawson's going to try to follow in behind him.
I don't know if Hunter Madalinas stopped to get some repairs done. He's not up in this group anymore.
Oh, Justin Mons is around on turn 1, right at the start.
No.
I was looking at the back half of the field when I was trying to talk, and I did not realize that Mons drove it into the corner. I think that was brake bias and the fact that he didn't want to hit Ashton.
My heart hurts for Justin Mons. I've mentioned it earlier. I've mentioned it probably every single race this season. Justin Mons has top 5, top 10 speed week in, week out, but just can't avoid the incidents as he's involved in that accident right there as we get another caution out here on the speedway.
You absolutely have to feel for Hunter Brittle too. Did about everything right and just couldn't avoid it at the last second. Justin just kind of, he had it locked dead to the right, and it just overcorrected right up in front of Hunter. And Hunter obviously having a really solid night. Since he caught a piece of him too, that might do enough damage to hurt him as well. But Hunter Brittle with another solid night gets taken out in that, unfortunately. So I think the 39 and 10 are both going to have some type of engine damage and be down RPM as you get to rewatch it here. Again, I have to assume brake bias. I mean, he's got it all set to the back. Rear wheels just kind of come around on him, and nothing he can really do. If it's locking to the left like that, there's not much that you can do. And these guys are running brake bias pretty far back at this point. They're trying to really get the front of the truck turning because it is kind of tight on entry. So I'm going to assume that was just, you know, him maybe overzealous, trying to see if he could clear Steve, get as far ahead of him as possible. But I think Ashton coming down honestly kind of made him a little nervous. He may have grabbed a little bit more brake than he wanted to, and the truck just comes around at that point.
That nose-to-nose contact is just killer between Mons and Brittle. Like you said, they both could definitely have engine damage from that incident right there, Elliot.
Yeah, I feel he probably been okay if it didn't hook right. He probably could have. I don't know. It's one of those deals where you could lock it left and pray that no one hits you. But I mean, where does Sensi go? Where does Shane go? Like you're in the middle of the track. I mean, Bard probably would have hit him trying to go down to the apron to avoid him. So I I can't say anything that Mons did was wrong. But I'm sure in Hunter Brittle's case, he's like, man, why don't you just lock it down and stay to the left, stay to the left, stay to the left? And I got to come back up. But I think it's just unfortunate circumstance for both of them. Hopefully, both trucks are somewhat okay, but honestly, pretty doubtful with that kind of impact.
I'd like to go to the chat real quick. Colby Baker is currently running in the 13th spot in the number 69 machine, and yeah, Justin, that was disappointing. Justin saying in the chat that he sent it a little too hard in there. That's what it looked like, Justin. But I'm hoping you can come back from that. I don't know if you have engine damage or not from that, but definitely once again a lot of speed again from the number 39 machine tonight.
Yeah, I think the frustrating thing for Justin at this point is the bad luck is going to hinder any type of run at playoffs. I mean, he's right on that cusp. He's 23rd coming in here, just one top 10 in 4 starts. There's always a chance. I mean, he's had speed. There's no shot that, in my mind, he wins a race this season. He's been that fast. But the question is where and how soon at this point, because you start running out of races pretty soon. We're race 7. I think by the end of race 15, we're into the playoffs. So we're almost halfway through the regular season here. Guys are running out of shots to win races, especially when you got people like Hunter Madalinas winning multiple.
Definitely got a lot more tracks still left before we get to the playoffs, and a lot of drivers sort of tracks. You have Darlington coming up next week. You have, I think, Pocono in week 13. I think there's Chicagoland, New Hampshire. So I think there's multiple opportunities. Yeah, you see the schedule right there. You see multiple opportunities for someone like Mons to possibly get a victory before we get to the playoffs. As the pace truck's about to pull down, we're going to get the green flag here. Jake Miller once again is going to lead him down to the green flag, and a good restart from Jake. And Lawson's once again going to try to jump into that second spot, but not quite able to get in front of Heller, as Heller will still be on his outside coming into 1.
Tell you what, this is Heller's shot. He knows how hard Hunter raced him. He needs to race Ashton just as hard. He needs this spot if he wants to try to go track down Jake. I mean, he's got competition taken out. Nanny's gone. Nanny's not in his rearview mirror anymore. Justin Mons is out. I mean, we don't know what happened to Hunter. I believe it's damage repair, but he's not in this thick area anymore. So it's literally him and Jake at this point. I haven't seen anybody with their type of speed. Shane Neiswanger is there, William Barbagelata is there, but the 36 and the 4 have been the class so far as he clears Ashton Lawson here.
Some good racing here early on this run, as we've just passed the halfway point here at Richmond Raceway. Jake Miller leading the field. You're looking at Shane Neiswanger coming into this race 1 point outside of the playoffs. He's having a great run. This is exactly what he needs. Oh, there's almost contact between Lawson and Steve McLean. Almost contact going into turn 3, as Lawson looked like he might have thrown a block on the 37, and there might have actually been contact. That was really close, as now we have a battle for the lead. Heller, he's going after Jake Miller, guys.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure why Ashton wanted to throw that block. The outside's been dominant here. Steve's just going to be on his outside this whole time now. And we saw that it kind of wore Chris out, I think, when he had to run the bottom for multiple laps and deal with Justin and Hunter on his outside. So I don't know that Hunter made the right, or Ashton made the right choice there, sorry. But yeah, Chris he has the short run speed. I'm not sure what he's doing in the car, what he's got settings set at, but he definitely has a short run speed, and he wants this lead. But Jake's going to start to eke it out a little bit as they come off turn 2. Still a battle for third, though.
That battle for third is exciting. Number 37 of Steve McLean, he's really pushing it. He's trying to get past Ashton Lawson. I think he has a little bit more speed than Ashton at the beginning of this run right now. Just not able to quite get past him. And right behind him now, right on his bumper, you have William Barbagelata, and now here comes Neiswanger trying to get to his outside.
Yeah, anytime those guys go through 1 and 2 like that and it stacks them up, I thought Shane was maybe going to get to the outside of Barb, but he didn't get enough of a run. You can get a chance to get there, but it's not enough.
This is some great racing. It's been fantastic racing all day here at Richmond Raceway. And a fantastic race for the Patty Engineering 175. Looking at the field, passing by, some great racing throughout the whole field right now. These top 5 or 6 guys are really close. And look who's coming into the picture. Look who's right behind Nicewanger, Matthew Durr. He is driving up. He's driven himself up now to the 7th spot. And he's approaching Nicewanger quick in that number 41 machine. That's a very cool looking Gatorade machine, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's a new paint scheme for him this week too, and it's nice because those guys usually run the same Defiance trucks, and it gets really hard to understand what they're running. But now Nanny's running something different. Frederick's running a standard Defiance truck, and we've got Matthew Durr in this nice blue truck now. So they're all running different schemes. So I thank those Defiance guys for that. We can actually call them out properly.
And caution is
flag.
out. Caution
Oh,
is out.
big
on the
wreck in
speedway.
turn 1. There's about like 5 or 6 cars involved there.
Wow. Briar Fritz is stacked up. Hunter Madalinas is in it.
Oh,
Rod
man.
Posna.
You hate to see it. Hunter Madalinas, top 5 guy most of the day. He's spun around to the number 9 machine. He's going to go a lap down, too, as Jake Miller passes by. And he's going to have to get towed. Not sure if his engine might have exploded on him there. Top 4 in points coming into tonight. Huge implications.
Richmond has not been kind to a lot of these guys.
This has been a great race. This has been fantastic racing and a lot of just craziness
Alex
recently.
is saying that I was Daniel Nanny again as we go back to the replay here.
Check the replay off the corner. It looks like Madalinas is on the inside of what looks to be possibly Daniel Nanny, and you're just 3 wide, all really close. Yeah, Madalinas' engine's probably finito in that number 9 machine.
Gavin was in that too. I don't even know what to say about that one. I get where Daniel's trying to go. He's frustrated. He's damaged. He had a truck that was potentially going to win this race or at least run top 5, something. And I just don't feel like that's worth a 3 wide move. I mean, I think you just lift and follow Hunter in, but wow.
That was a huge hit from Madalinas. I didn't know you could hit the wall that hard here at Richmond.
Evidently, I think just the way that those 2 trucks suckered into each other, it really killed the 9. And unfortunately, Gavin had a piece of that too. Caught him with the front of his truck, so he may be pretty hurt from that as well. Not really sure how Briar and Rod and those guys got involved afterwards, though. I think they were running toward the back.
I'm going to Gavin Fitzgerald.
He had a really good run off of 4 and absolutely nowhere to go there. He did a good job of avoiding the secondary incident, and he just looks like he had a piece of Hunter ever so slightly, but we'll see what that does.
You hate to see it. Gavin Fitzgerald hasn't been able to catch a break so far this race. Coming into this race, 5th in the points. So luckily he's up there in the points where if he ends up getting a bad run tonight, he's still right there in the playoff hunt. But definitely was looking to have a good run tonight and possibly get his first win on the season in the number 14 machine as you look at him. I'd like to mention that the telemetry for tonight's race is brought to you by SDK Gaming. The telemetry tonight is SDK Gaming. And also, the cameras for tonight are brought to you by TrackCams for Gourmets. That's TrackCams for Gourmets for all your iRacing custom cameras. Go to trackcams22.com. And then always, we'd like to thank Patty Engineering for sponsoring this series and sponsoring tonight's race, the Patty Engineering 175 here at Richmond Raceway. It's been a great one so far, Elliott.
Yeah, I think we've seen some solid racing. I know there's a couple guys out there that'll probably disagree, that they're frustrated that their night has gone the way it happened, but that's racing. Unfortunately, some guys have great nights, other guys have less than stellar nights. But I'm excited to see this little battle that we had between Jake and Chris. These guys have both been talking about how fast they're going to be tonight, and I'm excited that it's kept both of them in it, and we get to see a nice little duel. But man, I gotta say, I'm impressed that 24 truck. Like, we talk about Ashton quite often. He's got an ARCA championship. He's got 2 ARCA wins. He has not won virtually anything in the truck series, even though he's been fast at multiple races and had shots. So I'd be interested to see how aggressive he gets, how much he tries to push it to both of these guys in front of him, knowing that these 2 in front of him are the key guys right now. In a lot of these different series. Chris obviously leading the Cup Series right now by a hefty margin, and Jake has been the guy in the Truck Series for the last couple seasons. So it'll be interesting to see if Ashton can put anything to these two.
Ashton Lawson's definitely shown a lot of speed here early, and we know that he can get a little bit aggressive in that number 24 machine. I wouldn't don't look too far past him, because see the number 27 of Barbagelata as we go green flag racing here. Jake Miller off to another good restart. Heller right in behind him, and Lawson's going to try to clear Steve McLean going into turns 1 and 2 as William Barbagelata is right behind him in the Interstate Batteries machine.
I was going to say, this top 5 is really just an exciting group. I mean, you've got Steve McLean, who's really new to the series. This is his first full season with the series, and he has just been phenomenal every week. I mean, he hasn't had the greatest runs, but I feel like every week we're sitting here talking about him running in the top 10. And Barb is just one of the most aggressive and fun guys to watch. He's so frustrating to race against, but you know every time you're next to him that he's not going to give you an inch. And it is so much fun to watch that as Ashton. That's the second time he's blocked McLean, and McLean gave him the door.
And they're going to be 3 wide coming off turn 4.
I can't even blame Steve for that. He has dealt with that twice in a row now.
And Barb might send it. Nobody's going to think better of it and back off and give Steve McLean the inside lane. But yeah, Steve was not going to put up with it that time. And there's contact. Lawson hits him in the door. And I think Steve's going to send it here. And he does. Almost wrecked him. It looked like he tried to maybe get him right there.
I think he just had a bad angle. It's really hard to get the truck turned. Ash didn't catch the wall. He just got loose. And man, if I'm Steve, I'm frustrated. I'm trying to get back to that 24 and give him a little bit of a nose into the corner, get him out of his rhythm. But yeah, that's some racing right there at Richmond. Some good short track racing coming off the corner. Ashton just getting really loose, and Doran, Steve. The blocks are a little bit unnecessary, I feel like, but to each their own, man. Ashton knows that he wants his 3rd spot. Like I said, he's going to be aggressive to keep it and try to get up to Chris, but I feel like you're doing too much mirror driving at that point. You just need to run your own race. Run what's out the windshield, not what's behind you. Now he's got Barb, who, again, one of the most aggressive guys in the series, and Shane behind him, who doesn't lack any type of aggression, both trying to chase him down. So he's going to have a little bit more to deal with than Steve, who I feel like is a little bit more patient than a lot of these other guys.
Oh, and Matt Durr's in the wall trying to get to Steve McLean. I was about to say, Steve McLean definitely said how frustrated he was on the radio when that happened. Right before I was about to say that, Matthew Durr got into the wall trying to get past Steve McLean, and you see a guy that we haven't mentioned all day right up here in the 6th spot now. I mean, the 7th spot now. It's Kyle Munson, number 40 machine. He's looked pretty good. Moved up 32 spots so far, starting 39th today.
Yeah, I think that might be one of Shane's new teammates. I know Shane brought over, he's starting up a new team for season 5, and he's got 3 new guys that came in and are running for Veterans Racing, Veterans Motorsports. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but they all showed up tonight, made their way in through qualifying, so kudos to them, doing what they need to do, and I believe this might be one of them up here in the top 7. I'll sort that out and double check, but either way, Kyle Munson showing, hey, just because you start in the back doesn't mean you can't run in the top 10, doing a little bit of a Matthew Durr impression here. So we'll see how far up he can try to get, but 7th right now is a solid effort in his first race.
And Munson looking strong in the number 40 machine as he's in the top 10. And now he's going to put the pressure on the number 37 of Steve McLean. The number 37 of Steve McLean has a little bit of damage to that number 37 on the right front, a little bit of nose damage. And he gets into him in the quarter panel. Good save from the 37, but Munson really backed it off, and it's going to stack up the field behind him.
Man, I don't have audio on, but I think I need to turn it on, because I'm sure Steve is not very pleased right now. He has been picked up and fed out all over the place.
He didn't say anything that time, so I'm assuming he might be hitting his wheel, Elliott.
I just can't believe how much of a pinball he's tried to be this whole couple laps. I mean, between the blocks that Ashton threw on him and just getting almost run over by Kyle and the contact, that truck's a little bit used up, and it's not really any of his doing.
You got a feel for Steve McLean, definitely putting on a good run in the number 37 as Munson sends it hard into turn 1. He's going to almost clear him in the middle of the corner, but not quite able to, and Steve McLean's going to get the run off the corner, and he's going to drive it into turn 3 with the slight edge. Here comes Munson on the inside. He's pushing hard, trying to clear past the number 37 of Steve McLean. And you see Sensi and Matthew Durr battling right behind these guys in the same fashion. Sensi clears Matthew Durr going into the corner, and then you see Munson. He clears McLean coming out of the corner.
for clarification, Munson is not as part of Veterans Esports, so either a solo act or with a different organization. We'll have to figure that out for the next race, but solid effort to see him drive up to the 6th spot from about dead last on the grid.
Yeah, Munson definitely putting on a show. Him and Matthew Durr, they both came from the back of this field, and they're running in the top 10, putting on good runs. Munson now begin to put a little bit of distance between himself and Steve McLean. As you look at our race leader, Jake Miller, he has a decent gap between himself and Heller, around a 1.5 gap between himself and Heller. And Miller's the quickest guy on the racetrack right now, Elliott. He's running around a 10th quicker than anybody else in that top 5.
Yeah, again, it's not really a surprise. I mean, it's good to see Jake come back to a little bit of his own rhythm. About a second out on Heller. Heller's definitely not letting him drive away like he was able to with Mons and Hunter behind before, but you got a nice battle right here for 9th. I'm going to bring it up again. Brent Kingcott, again, GT driver, getting a little bit of a block from Matthew Durr going into the corner. Not something we're usually accustomed to seeing from Matthew, trying to defend that spot, but sitting here battling for 9th, and just ahead of them, you got Sensi trying to make his way past Steve McLean. That's for the 7th spot, and Sensi going to pick one up,
Caution's
take him
out
down,
on the
yellow
speedway.
flag.
We get another caution out, and Miller is not happy on the radio because anytime he's beginning to gap the field, that caution comes out. Miller is not happy, and
it's a parking lot on the backstretch. Nanny's in it again. Brockman, Aiden DuPont, and they might end up going
they're
a lap
trying
down
to
if they
stay
don't
in
get
front of the
going.
leaders. And they will stay in front of the leaders, just barely. You see Brockman involved there. Nanny once again. Brockman and Nanny can't quite stay away from each other. I'm interested to see if they maybe got together again this time.
I'm not sure if Brockman just can't avoid what's happening in front of him. I feel like a lot of his strategy tonight was maybe let's just stay out of the way and relax, and it seems that everything's kind of found him. I'm not sure. We'll have to go to a replay that we're going to see right here. It's going to be between Nanny and 69 on the bottom. And I'll chalk that up to netcode. I didn't see them too close to each other, enough to make contact at least.
I mentioned him earlier, the number 69 of Colby Baker involved in that incident. And they're just nose to nose right there, trying to figure out how we're going to do this. And Aiden DuPont right behind him. And these guys barely get out in front of the pace truck you see right there.
And Brockman in that situation is like, dude, can you hit reverse and move, please? Like, I don't want to go a lap down. I've already suffered enough. I don't need more of this. Brockman just trying to come out of here with a solid effort. Again, came in here, your points leader, really did not want to lose that spot, but with Barb consistently in the top 10, running 3rd right now, I mean, it's going to be hard to overcome that. As I believe Nathan Nixon, actually, Ashton Lawson has
He took 2.
Jake Miller off pit road here. Yep, that's a call right there. Nathan Nixon is still on track, and Ross Brockman has not pit yet. I believe Ross is just trying to ensure that he's not going to go a lap down, doesn't want to pit at the end of the field and take 4 tires and accidentally put himself a lap down.
Yeah, while that was going on, I heard Jake Miller on the radio saying something about 2 tires. So I'm thinking Ashton Lawson and the number 24 machine had just taken 2 tires to put himself in front of Jake Miller. And Nathan Nixon has stayed out, it looks like. And now he comes down pit road, actually. The number 33 has just came down pit road.
Probably to lead a lap, get that extra bonus point. I'm not really sure if 2 tires is the call at this point. I feel like with the trucks being loose and you're not having grip, you're really not going to want less grip in it, but we'll see. I think it's early enough to try it. I don't think it's ever really going to work at a track like this with this many laps left. I mean, if they run green to the end here, Ashton's completely killed. There's no chance of that truck winning this race or even probably finishing in about the top 5 or top 10. 4 tires is just going to eat you up long enough. So it's a call. If he gets a couple of, quick cautions to the point that these guys are all going to pit again before, lap 150 or so, he'll be in a really good spot. But they're just outside their window right now, and there's no chance that they're gonna pit again until they're at least in that window. So we'll see. He needs a nice 10 or 15 lap run and to try to maintain as many spots as possible. But watch for that truck to be pretty out of shape and pretty hard to control.
You were mentioning that window, Elliott. These guys are just outside that fuel window. You were mentioning earlier, I think it was around 50 to 52 laps, and they're going to restart this race with around 54 laps to go. I'm wondering if any of these guys might try to save those 2 laps and possibly steal a win here if we stay green the rest of the way.
Yeah, they're actually going to delay this green too, so we'll have to see what that does. I mean, it's just another lap to save fuel. I don't think that means that they can just stretch it from there, but it's a call nonetheless.
If I'm someone that's just sitting outside the playoffs, someone like maybe like Kevin Watler, I try to maybe steal a win here. I maybe even come down pit road right now if I'm able to and top off and just do what I can to save fuel to try to get to the end here.
I think for guys running at the back right now, that's worth it. Come get your fuel and just make sure you can make it to the end. I'm not sure if those guys know that that's the call at this point to do that, but it's certainly worth pitting and trying to get some extra fuel in it. And if you can make it to the end, maybe you snag a much better finish than you'd be running right now. But doesn't look like too many guys are going to offer that strategy, and we'll just have to see what this two tire strategy does.
The most recent pit stop I've seen, well, these leaders have came in at lap 118, but I'm looking in the back of the pack. You have drivers like Jordan Gonzalez and Lewis Woodall who pit on lap 120. So it's definitely something you got to keep your mind. You have to keep on your mind as we're going to take the green flag here. Lawson leads him down to the green flag from the outside. Good restart from him.
Barb got a call out from Lawson. That's going to be huge as he can try to get to the outside of Jake if he can. They're wrecking
And
behind
they're
him, though.
wrecking. It's Steve McLean. Oh, man. You hate to see it. Steve was
Ashton
running
loves it.
well. Yeah,
Ashton loves to see it. Everybody else hates it, but that's the strategy for the 24. Let me get a few cautions here.
and
I
there's
don't.
a couple of damaged trucks out there. And look at Ross Brockman. He's had a lot of damage just from the race in general. A lot of incidents from the 52 machine. Your points leader coming in tonight. We're going to get
I
a
mean,
replay here. Ross
that looks
Brockman.
very, very similar to what Justin Mon's incident was. Steve McLean and Michael Sensi are just kind of byproducts of it, unfortunately. We're watching the wrong car on the replay. Sorry about that, but it looks like Kyle just kind of drove it in hard there. We were just talking about Kyle Munson. Great run, but you get a little bit anxious on these restarts. You think you got a spot there, and you can just see the truck really slides, and then there's some net code that sends a 37 for a much larger spin than I believe it could have been, but um, just unfortunate side effect of, these trucks need the brake bias set at a level to try to get it to rotate on corner entry, and when you do that, you just don't have the grip on these cold tires trying to get in the corner really hard on a restart, and he just missed the mark by ever so much, and it was enough to pop the 37 around. I don't think that Sensi caught the wall, so he might actually be okay, but Steve McLean with a bit of damage and some hurt feelings and some more positions lost from that. That guy's definitely been through the ringer tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, these last 20 laps from Steve McLean have been 20 laps from hell, I'd say. Looking at Steve McLean drive through the field. I'm looking to see if maybe he got some revenge right here as he's just flying through the field.
I think he just wanted to go up and let him know, hey,
You just
I
want to let him know
know,
that
I
you
know what
saw
you
that.
did. Yep.
I know what you did. I'm not very happy about it, and I'll remember it next time.
I think he can afford to do that with a couple guys at this point. He's definitely having, as I would quote, I mean, oh, I just missed my quote as soon as I was going to say it, but you take a top 5 truck and you make it a 15th place truck. That's what's happened so far to him. But again, plenty of laps to bring it back. There's still 50 to go here. So, we'll see if he can drive back up there. He's had the speed and he's honestly been one of the faster cars on the longer run, making passes as the run went on. So we'll see what happens.
I think this restart is probably going to be the most exciting restart so far. We're getting later in the run, around 50 laps left. And first place is Ashton Lawson. Second place is Jake Miller. And then in third place, you have William Barbagelata. So you have 3 of probably the fastest guys in this series, plus 3 of probably the most aggressive guys in this series. So this should definitely be really exciting here.
Listen, I love that whole top 5. I mean, I like about back to 8th, but look at the number 14 car sitting in 13th. Remember we were talking about him way at the beginning of this event? Wrecked in the wall a couple times, got door slammed from starting towards the back. He has rallied up to a top 15 position, and that is a stellar effort from the last time that we even talked about him. It's hard to not see that yellow giant Tiger Ford F-150 sitting there in 13th. Albeit a bit damaged, but it's up there. It's not killed, and he's got a chance at potentially a top 10.
Gavin Fitzgerald trying to get as many points as he can out of today. our split-second broadcasting partner, the driver of the number 14, came into this race 5th in the points. He's been involved in a couple of cautions so far today in the number 14 machine. But like I said, just trying to max out his points effort on today, as looks like the lights are out on the pace truck. We're going to go green flag racing this time by, as Lawson's actually picked the inside today, inside this restart. I think that's the first one we've seen all today.
It's all because of the guy who's behind him. Barb is a teammate. He's going to try to line up and make sure that he can help Barb out. If he can get Barb to the inside of Jake, maybe he can door him or move him or do something to scare Jake. We'll see how this restart goes for him, though.
Pace truck pulls off, and Lawson leads him to the green flag. Lawson immediately jumps in front of Jake Miller, and here comes William Barbagelata, Mr. Excitement on the inside. And Lawson's going to maybe keep Miller to the outside, it looks like. That way William Barbagelata can get under him, Elliott.
Wow, that was very, very good driving by Ashton. He's going to block Barb to turn 3, though, a little bit. I thought Jake could get to his outside with how slow Ashton made it through the last, through turns 1 and 2 the last time, but it looks like Ashton's kind of holding Jake up here, but also holding him off. Jake maybe gave him the bumper into turn 1. I've got a bad angle on that, but you can tell that these two right behind him are much faster, and there they go, 3 wide as the yellow
Lawson
happens.
lost the lead, it looked like. Looked like Lawson might still be in the lead.
I don't know. That was so close. They literally went 3 wide as that was happening.
Lawson's the leader. Huge accident behind. Jordan Gonzalez, someone's blown up down there.
I mean, Ashton nearly had Jake in the outside wall. That was phenomenal. And it's Steve McLean again.
Caleb DeSorda looked like he was involved. A lot of good trucks out there involved. Caleb DeSorda, one of those drivers sitting outside the bubble, around 15, 20 points outside the bubble, needing a good run here tonight.
Yeah, we were just talking about both Gavin and Steve, and I believe both of them collected each other there. Just went in the corner 3 wide and made some contact.
I get a replay here for you. Looking like Steve McLean coming into turns 1 and 2. And they're 3 wide going into the corner. I don't know if Steve McLean knew they were 3 wide and comes down on Gavin Fitzgerald, and Nicewanger gets into it. A lot of good trucks, especially got to feel for Nicewanger. Nicewanger coming into this race just 1 point outside of the playoff bubble. Involved in that incident after running in the top 10 most of the day. And Steve McLean is not happy. He's just had a really tough day for that 37.
Yeah, can we stay focused on that 49? I have this on a small window. I mean, did he get airborne afterwards? Like, what just happened there? I don't understand how he gets turned here, and then now he's facing the field, and
Whee! X Games. X
that
Games
is new.
ramp.
Yeah, the Olympics
He
are
can
happening, but
He can put that on his resume now. He was an Olympics ramp.
That is either Gabriel Truesdale or Briar Fritz using Shane Nicewanger as a ramp car.
The reason this is turning into a wreck fest, because here in the Great Lakes Series, the first half seemed to be very clean, but once they get into the second half of this races, it's really a big fight for track position. So cautions breed cautions. When there's one caution that comes out, these guys fight really hard on the restarts. Another caution flag comes out, and it just goes over and over. It happens a lot here in the Great Lakes Series. Looking to get a decent green flag run here late. So we're going to try to get you another look at the incident here that had just happened. Looking at the number 60 truck, who I think is the truck that got the gold medal. The guy that went flying off the ramp.
I think this is a truck that we're about to make a bunch of gifts out of, because this is...
Whee!
I don't even understand.
Funny
the pace was just perfect. Unfortunately, I believe they both have blown engines.
They do. That Keystone light can is completely destroyed.
It did not look bad, but it will kill both of their races. Wow. The unfortunate thing for Shane is, I mean, that contact really should have never spun him like that. I'm not sure what happened there, but it looked like one of those open wheel incidents where 2 tires catch. And I mean, that wouldn't have happened traditionally. They should have kind of just bounced off each other and kept going. But as Shane says, every week it's an unfortunate side effect of his racing. So remember, he came in about 20th in points or 13th in points. He was about 13th in points, right on that cusp. Top 12, make it into the playoffs. So he was right there, about a point off the bubble, and he's now going to be suffering with the bubble man Ashton Lawson leading this race. So we'll see how this goes, but that's not going to help Shane, and he's going to have to work himself a little bit harder these next few weeks, trying to make sure that he gets in the playoffs.
I would like to congratulate Gabriel Truesdale on his gold medal performance right there on that jump. That was just fantastic. We just got one half a lap away from the green flag here. Pace truck's about to pull off, and it looked like Lawson has picked the high side this time, as Heller's behind him now, and Barbagellata, his teammate, is now stuck in basically the 4th spot as he's that second guy on the inside. And Lawson gets off to a good restart, and Miller, maybe too good of a restart. Look like he got into the wall. And now Miller's on his inside, and this is really going to make things interesting, Elliott.
Yeah, Jake really put power down. You could see the truck wiggle. They're up in the wall again. I believe
Caution.
Jake had the lead.
That was close. Oh, Jake Miller, yep, that's confirmation, as he says stuff that I shouldn't stay here on the broadcast, but he said yes.
I don't think he said yes, but we'll take your word for it.
He meant yes.
I think that's about all the excitement that we needed out of that one. I guess we're just at that point where these guys just think it's the end of the race, and we're just going to start running into the corner really hard. I'm trying to go back and look at what happened there, as we've got it up on replay.
Huerta here.
Matthew Durr just sent another kind of like block into the corner, but that wasn't really the issue. It was
and McLean is involved again. You saw him on the inside. He got hit again.
Yeah, I believe it was Disorder too that completely obliterated that truck that was sitting still. That is just, it was just some shuffling there, and unfortunately it's just going to end with sorry, I can't even see who that is in the orange truck. You're going to have to...
Christopher Huerta.
There you go. I was going to say, I feel like Christopher's about the only one that runs an orange truck, but I still don't know who it is.
You got a feel for Huerta too. He's right outside that bubble. He came into today's race, I think, only 5 points outside of the playoff bubble. Only 5 points behind Lawson coming into today. Caught up in a late incident. As you're going to look at Caleb Disorda, I think, here in the number 12 machines on board, as he could not see Huerta through the smoke, and right when he saw him, it was too late for that Dogecoin machine.
Yeah, I'm not sure if maybe these yellows are coming out late, or these guys just don't really, I mean, I guess there's not really enough smoke there for him to really see it, but it's frustrating for Huerta to think, you know, I just took all this damage and I'm still going to get hit. But Huerta's had an up and down season, but for him to just be annihilated like that definitely hurts, considering where he was running. I think he was up about the 10th, 13th spot. So we'll see if that truck can continue on with how it is, but I think we're in for a bit of a show now. We've got some guys shuffled up at the front. We got Brent Kingcott. I'm gonna keep bringing his name up. He's up in 7th now. Steven Sims, who I don't believe has started a race this season, is now in 6th after starting 18th. A lot of these guys that started back around midfield to the rear of the field are right around that top 10 or inside the top 10. So we've got a plethora of new faces up here, but again, back up to the front, Jake Miller, Ashton Lawson, Chris Heller, William Barbagellata. That has not changed. And don't forget about old Michael Sensi right there in 5th.
Michael Sensi had a fantastic start to the season, a very consistent start to the season, but the last couple weeks, he's fallen back a little bit, but had for a very great run last week at Kansas. He seems back on it this week. Coming into this race, I think only 2 points outside the points lead, as he's tied for 3rd in the point standings with Madalinas coming into today.
Yeah, I think he's had some bad luck. I mean, Homestead, he qualified well, he ran well a bit, and ended up, I believe, involved in some incidents towards the end. Bristol. I don't think anybody had a fun time there. And and Kansas, he bounced back, had a 6th place finish. Is a solid effort to try to get back in the swing of things. And tonight he's right back up here in the top 5. So could be a swing back to just trying to make sure that, you know, he's got to win. He can hang on to that Daytona win as long as possible. But I think he's really trying to show that he's going to be a contender this year, and that he's going to try to go for this championship and be in these playoffs. So right now, doing what he needs to do to try to maintain that top 5 position in points, with a lot of these other guys having some struggles, and sitting here trying to improve from 5th.
You would think that these guys maybe have saved enough fuel to make it to the end of this race now, as we're going to get the green flag with 34 laps to go. Jake Miller is going to lead him down to the green flag. He has picked the inside lane. Right behind him is Christopher Heller in the number 36. On his outside, he has Ashton Lawson and William Barbagellata. The pace truck pulls off, and Jake Miller off to a good restart. Off to around a 2-car length advantage, passing the start-finish line as Heller going to try to make a move on Lawson for second going into 1.
That's exactly what Heller needed. He needed to get to the inside of Ashton. Ashton's not going to have the grip that he needs to be able to make this work on the outside, regardless of how fast that truck is. So Heller can now clear Ashton, maybe off turn 4. It's tight.
Oh, he
does
forces
it.
himself
Wow.
in there almost. I don't know how they
Yeah.
didn't wreck there, as Barbagelado was right on Lawson's bumper coming out of that corner. That was really close.
And now Chris can just set sights on Jake as he makes it completely clear off
Oh,
turn 2. They're battling
comes
really hard,
Barbagelado.
though.
Yeah, these guys are battling really hard.
And you can
Lawson's
see the
trying to hold
tire
these guys
difference.
off.
You can see the tire difference into 3 there. You can see Lawson just did not have the entry speed that Barb had. I mean, those tires are just not going to help you be able to brake, especially with how loose the braking
Caution.
zone already is. We're wrecking again. Steve just got turned.
Who would have thought?
Steve McLean turned again after that yellow had already come out.
And it looked
And
like he
his
might have
truck is
just
killed.
lit up a cigarette in there. He's just that irritated. Just too many wrecks from that number 37 machine. You got to feel for him. I think Steve McLean had... Oh, he gets into Brandon Nafel right there. I think McLean had top 5 speed. Definitely top 10 speed tonight. The radio is pretty chatty right now after that last incident. Yeah,
I mean, the
gonna
question at
watch
this
him
point,
still getting into Nafel. Not happy with Brandon Nafel, so I'm going to assume that that's where the incident came from.
is well, the yellow was already out before that happened, as far as I know, so we may have to go back and double check that. As soon as you said yellow, I still saw Steve getting wrecked into turn 1. No one's pitting here. I'm not sure if pits look like they might be closed, actually, so I'm interested to see if maybe there's a call. Here's the other accident that doesn't look like it should have been a yellow.
Oh,
there
there
it is,
it is.
between Frederick and Jordan Gonzalez, it looks like.
There was a lot of contact going into the corner, and then Gonzalez maybe thought he was clear, and him and Cremines just kind of came together off the corner right there. Gonna take another look at it right here. Here's McLean, actually. We're actually gonna look at the McLean incident with Nafel. Happened around the same time. McLean just comes down. I'm not sure right there.
Yeah, I don't know who to put blame on there. I mean, I think Nafel just thought that McLean was going to give him the inside and stay out there, and Nafel had a nose. You know, it wasn't to his quarter panel, but McLean definitely came down, and there was just a connection in the corner. So, going back and looking at this Jordan Gonzalez incident, nope, back to the McLean one. There's just, I don't know. There's some odd split-second decision there that was made by both drivers to just go down in the corner that hard. So it'll unfortunately end McLean's night. Potentially had a top 5, top 10 truck, and I don't think it ever really went that well from the beginning at this point. Not of his own doing.
You got to feel for him. He's definitely been caught up in a lot of incidents. None of them really of his own doing. Just a lot of bad luck today from the number 37 of Steve McLean. But still has races left to get himself back into the playoffs. As coming in today, he was around 3 points outside coming into today's race.
When you go back and watch it off of turn 4, it really looks like he just got frustrated that he couldn't, that like Shane was going to clear him, and then I think he just thought that there was a gap there. Like, it looked like Nafel was far enough back that he could have slotted in. We've seen a lot of guys do that tonight, so I can't really fault Steve for wanting to slot a nose in there, but the gap just wasn't there. And Nafel was unfortunately just close enough to turn him into the inside wall. I mean, we've seen people like Matthew Durr, we've seen Ashton Lawson just kind of protect that inside, try to close that nose off, and it's worked, but did not work for Steve McLean. At the other end of the spectrum specifically, William Barbagelata has lost connection to the server and reconnected. I'm not sure what their call is going to be on this, but he was running in 3rd or 4th at the time. He had this issue in the Cup race, and they gave him his laps back, but it, personally, it ruined strategy calls, and he was able to save an extra set while he was laps down for half the race. So I've heard that they're not going to give laps back anymore for this situation, but we will see if that's the case. If he does not get laps back, I would assume that he is just SOL at this point, and he'll finish where he's running.
Yeah, William Barbagelata around 4 laps down right now. He's running in the top 5 for most of the second half of this race and was possibly a big contender for the victory here late. but some internet issues has definitely put him on pit road, I think, still right now. I don't know if he's pulled off pit road yet. We're about to get the green flag as the pace truck pulls into turn 3 and 4. We're gonna get the green flag with 26 laps to go. As Jake Miller is gonna lead him down to the green flag, and Christopher Heller's on his inside, and Michael Sensi's now up there in the top 4. A great restart from Miller, and Heller's gonna jump up into the second spot immediately.
I was going to say one man's misfortune is another man's fortune, as Ashton's going to get sent maybe 3 wide. Don't they think better of it? But Sensi is going to be the one that lucks out of this right now. You've got Steve Sims also. That was the one that was looking to go 3 wide as they back up the field going into the corner there. But Michael Sensi is all of a sudden contending for 3rd. I don't think he had any recollection he was going to do it.
He's in the grass. The 6
He saves it.
King caught. And he spins the inside wall. Oh, big crash. Aaron too close. Briar Fritz. Oh, man. And Jake Miller's not happy on the radio again.
And I was
he wasn't involved.
I was giving Brett Kingcott so much positivity, and that incident is just absolutely killer to a lot of these trucks.
You got to feel for Kingcott. Look, he had the truck saved, and right when he hit the pavement, just spun it right back around.
And that was Briar Fritz as well. Immediately disconnects, engine blown. A lot of other guys involved in that.
A huge accident. We're going to take a replay look here. You're going to look at the 6 truck as he gets a little loose coming off turn 4. You're going to see it here on your screen. Just gets sideways underneath the number 40 right there. Kingcott then goes through the grass, and it looks like he has the truck saved, but right when he hits the pavement, just it upsets his truck with all the grass and the dirt on his tires. Just sends him sideways, and a lot of good trucks involved in that. Looking to have top 10, top 15 runs. A lot of destroyed trucks out there, Elliott.
Yeah, I was right about the 20th position. Briar was about the first driver collected in it. A lot of those guys were, I think, at the end of this thing, just trying to survive it, just trying to maintain their spot that they were in at that point. They were happy with where they were running. They were damaged. They didn't have the best of nights, and they were just trying to make it through. And unfortunate circumstances. I mean, Brett had a solid run going. I don't want to sit here and point fingers, but that was definitely a slight mistake on his part to make. But, you know, again, all learning curve. It was his first start tonight. He was coming over from the GT series. He's run pretty well over there, and he had a stellar run going tonight. It's definitely nothing to hang his head on. He made one mistake, and it is what it is. We'll continue on and keep racing. It's great to see him over here and running as well as he was for someone that may or may not have too much exposure to, you know, the stock car racing. I don't know a lot about his background, but he was running really well in GT and decided he'd come over here and give it a shot. And he was running really well tonight, outpacing a lot of guys that usually show up and contend pretty well, running top 10. So unfortunate end to his night, and unfortunate end to a lot of drivers' nights as well. I think Justin Benda and Briar Fritz and others were involved in that.
You saw the impact right there. That was some heavy impact that Briar Fritz put to that machine, the number 6 of Kingcott. A lot of damage, that number 77. We're going to go green flag here in just a few laps. We're going to go green flag with around 20 laps to go. Jake Miller is still your leader. Christopher Heller is right there in the 2nd spot. Ashton Lawson's in 3rd. Michael Sensi's in 4th. And then the newcomer, Steven Sims, in the top 5 in that 5th spot. Looking to make some noise.
Yeah, Barbara Jalad is also getting waved around. Not going to help him too much tonight with 23 guys on the lead lap, but interesting to see that call made after the fiasco in the Cup Series. So we'll see how that fares for him. Maybe he can bounce back from that, but he'll end up about 1, maybe 2 laps down before this goes back green. He came in about 5 or 6 after being disconnected. But you know, I'm really interested to see what Steve and Kyle do here. Again, both making their first start tonight. Both haven't really done anything wild. They've just kind of been clean. They've been just running up front, not really done anything super impactful, not trying to put anything wrong or you know, make themselves noted. They just want to come in here, have strong, clean runs, and continue on from there. And the other guy sitting back there 7th, Gavin. What does he do? Gavin Fitzgerald, of all drivers, is sitting here in 7th and has had probably one of the most up and down nights that we've seen. But at the end of the day, he's got a chance at a top 5. Is he going to go for that, or is he just going to settle with his nice top 10 with a lot of these other guys like Ross Brockman, William Barbagelata, Michael Sensi, Hunter Madalinas, and other guys having these issues? I mean, Sensi's the only guy that doesn't have an issue with points tonight. So, Gavin can come out of here second if he has a solid night.
Gavin definitely caught some breaks here late after having a lot of issues early. And the green flag is out with around 19 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway. Jake Miller is your leader. Heller is going to jump into the second spot immediately, and Sensi and Lost are going to battle out for the third spot. Begin to wonder maybe if that two-tire strategy might begin to work for Lawson, as it maybe has evened out a little bit, as he's going to hold on to the third spot for now from Sensi, and he's right there behind Heller. Battling it out for the fifth spot. Munson and Steven Sims and others battling it out for fifth. And look at Daniel Nanny up here. Where did Daniel Nanny come from? I thought he was dead and gone, and he's up here in the top 10. Where did he come from? He has fresh tires.
I generally thought his race was over 100 laps ago. It might still be if they make more contact, but
Commentator Kurt.
He's driving back up here for sure.
Yeah, Daniel Nanny's actually on 4 fresh tires. He came in on lap 132, so he has around 10, 12 laps fresher tires than these guys in front of him. So Nanny is picking them apart. You see Steven Sims right there in front of Gavin Fitzgerald battling it out with Jacob Manning for the 7th spot right now, and Kevin Watler coming into this race just outside the bubble, trying to get as many points as he can. After being involved in that incident earlier, he's moved himself into the top 10, and now he's going to jump to the inside of Gavin Fitzgerald with Matthew Durr right behind him.
Man, these guys are racing so hard back here for those spots. Gavin was nearly pushing Steve through the corner, trying to get him to go. I think a lot of these guys also still have fresher tires. They do. There's a lot of guys back there. Matthew Durr pitted lap 152 under his last caution. Eric Kep, Shane Neiswanger, Ross Brockman, Brandon Kaufman. These guys are all fighting with fresher tires. They're trying to gain these spots back and trying to put these guys behind them and really turn around their night. Shane catches the outside wall there.
Yeah, DuPont and Shane Neiswanger, almost a big... Oh, and there it is! Brockman gets into his bumper, and they're going to spin out. Dale Jr., Kyle Busch style, and DuPont slams the inside barrier. Oh, man.
I believe that was Colby Baker as well.
Don't look now, but I'm really looking now at Matthew Durr in the 8th spot. At number 41, he's on brand new spanking tires basically in that 8th spot, and everybody in front of him is on pretty old tires.
There's decisions to make right here. Do you pit? Do you come in and use that set? It looks like Jake wants to. He's not going to.
I think he knows, Elliott. He might have the same problem that Nanny had earlier, because I really feel like that's what happened. Since Nanny was the race leader, he came down pit row and everybody was like, let's ditch the leader. Let's change up this race.
I don't think he has a chance to do it. I mean, at the end of the day, the only guy that is his competition, besides Chris, is going to be someone like Matthew Durr or Daniel Nanny. And they have to pass so many cars. 6th to the lead is not as easy as it sounds unless those guys really get racing in front of you and you can pick them off. I mean, Ashton has sat here in 4th for how many laps on 2 fresh tires? So I don't think that Jake has a choice at this point. He needs to stay out, and he needs to just try to finish this out. I don't even know if they have a set left. I don't think we've been keeping track of that, but I think you've got what you've got at this point. And Jake and Chris have the faster trucks than a lot of these other guys, so I think they're set. It would have been interesting to see if maybe someone like Sensi would pit, come in and try to coax Ashton and other people in and see if that would change it. But with the fact that half the field pitted behind you now, none of those guys are going to pit. They're set in their ways. They're running these last 15 laps out. So you would have cycled back to about almost 20th with how many guys are on the lead lap. You're set. Everyone is pretty much where they are. There's no need to pit now.
Everybody's strategies are pretty much set. These top 5 guys have not pit since lap 118. The first guy you have that has made a more recent pit stop is Daniel Nanny, who pit at lap 132. Then you have Jacob Manning, who was also at 118. But then you have Matthew Durr and Eric Kep and looks like Brandon Kaufman as well. They all pit on lap 153. They pit on the caution right before this one, so they have super fresh tires. If they can get maybe one more caution and pass a good amount of cars on this restart, they can definitely compete for this win. Matthew Duran, Eric Kep. Eric Kep, I mentioned it here before. He's so smart. We haven't even mentioned him, I don't think, really this whole entire race, and he's here in the top 10. It's honestly a good chance of winning the thing.
Yeah, Eric doing just what he does all the time, just literally out here riding, not really trying to do anything aggressive or, make anything happen. He's just going to ride and let the race come to him. And usually it comes to him and gives him a top 10. I mean, last week it almost gave him a win based on the strategy, but um, this week he's solidly up inside the top 10 after starting back in about 33rd ish. So just gotta give those guys credit to keep coming from the back all the way up to the front. Kyle Munson's the other one, has 34 spots gained, 33 spots gained all the way up. Matthew Durr 30 plus gained. Gavin Fitzgerald 20 plus gained. So I mean, these guys have all driven up through the field. They're kind of just hoping that they can ride it out with where they are right now.
We're going to get the green flag with 9 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway. If you're going to share the stream, share the link to this broadcast, I would do it now. I would like to hear from some of y'all in the chat as we're going to get green flag racing with just 9 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway. 9 laps left in the Paddy Engineering 175. Jake Miller is going to lead him down with Christopher Heller on his inside. Green flag is out, and it looked like Heller spun the tires down on the inside, and Miller is going to get off to a big gap of a restart.
Nanny got a really good launch there. They are almost wrecking with Wattler back there, though. Watch for Danny and Sensi up here. What does Nanny do with these fresher tires? He goes to the outside of Ashton Lawson.
And Daniel Nanny charging late. He dominated the first half of this race almost and got caught up in some incidents once he got put to the back, and now he's here in the top 5. Trying to get back to the lead on slightly fresher tires than these guys, but he's having troubles getting past Lawson, as Lawson's going to kind of block him up the racetrack, it looks like, right there.
Eric's
And
making some
braking in the
contact.
back. Ross Brockman's around out of turn 2.
Yeah, I saw some of that happening in front of them. I mean, Eric made a little bit of contact with, I believe it was Munson off corner exit. These guys on old tires aren't turning as well, and these guys on newer tires are trying to go in and pinch them down. They're sliding up into each other, it looks like. So, unfortunate run for Brockman here, again involved in some late race drama, and comes in here the points leader, and now literally him and Barb are right next to each other, so it's going to be interesting to see exactly how they come out of here, but it looks like Sensi may end up stealing the points lead.
Yeah, those top 4 guys I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the top 4 drivers and points coming into today were separated by only 2 points. William Barbagelata, he disconnected from the server, and he's trying to make a comeback in that number 27. Hunter Madalinas got involved in a heavy incident earlier, and he's out of the race. Michael Sensi's really picked up the pieces. He's up here trying to take the points lead away. Ross Brockman, like I said, has had many issues today in the number 52 machine.
Yeah,
So
as we watch those
Sensi might be the points
replays,
leader.
that issue for Brockman wasn't even his own doing. Again, it was a huge cluster, a stack up, and he ended up getting the worst end of that, unfortunately. So him, Barb, I believe are both back there. Ross is 23rd, Barb is 20th, and Sensi could come out of here with a nice 20-point cushion, considering, I believe Hunter is literally showing 40th on my screens. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but that is a huge points loss for him, almost a full race loss on points. Granted, he has the 2 wins. He can lean back on a lot more than anybody else can right now. He is a complete lock for the playoffs, depending on, I believe it's top 25 if he stays in that area on points, which is completely doable. But Gavin is the other guy that can make sense of this. Hunter Brittle, again, bad luck too. Gavin came in 22 points back. He could leapfrog a lot of these guys. I mean, almost all of them if he has a solid enough night. Right now he's running 11th, so he's not quite there, but he could at least put a huge dent, at least half the points he's behind. He could come out of here about 10 points behind all these guys, being about 22 points back in 5th. So it could be a really big night for someone like Gavin Fitzgerald.
The way this race has been turning out, I can see Gavin and other drivers getting a lot more spots still. A lot of aggression here late. We can have possibly multiple green-white checkers here, as it looks like we're going to get the 1 to go. And actually, nope, not this time. Still, lights are still on the pace truck. So it looks like we might have a green-white checkered on our hands. This on this restart.
Tell you what, we've got Matthew Durr on fresh tires. He's now 6th, and he's on the freshest. So it gets harder to pass when you're up here, but I'm interested to see what Matt can do with this. He's got a top 5 at least if he just plays this right and him and Nanny get a good enough start. You know Jake's going to pick the bottom because he doesn't want Nanny to try to get a run on the outside around Ashton. He wants him to have to deal with Ashton, and hopefully Chris gets a bad start and blocks Nanny in for him. But man, this is going to be interesting. I fear for Chris's rear bumper, and I fear for Ashton because I know Nanny's going to be incredibly aggressive. Jake just needs to not spin the tires, get a clean start, and get out of there. But I'm nervous about people potentially spinning tires, and that 24 is probably the prime candidate with the fact that he's only got 2 fresh ones on there.
And I'm looking at the number 4 here, Jake Miller. He's picking the high side. Honestly, this is one of the few times I would have definitely picked the inside, because if I have the inside, I have Nanny up high and Matthew Durr. But now with Jake Miller starting up high, he can possibly pull Daniel Nanny to that second spot. And Matthew Durr is on fresh tires in the 3rd row on that outside. So he's the guy to really watch in that number 41, maybe making some moves here late to try to get himself a late victory.
Yeah, I don't like this call, but with a 2-lap shootout, it may work out in his favor.
Pace truck's about to pull off, and it does. And we're going to get our first, well, actually not a first attempt at a green-white checkered. It'll just be a regular 2-lap shootout. Jake Miller leads him down to the green. Heller's going to fall into the 2nd spot, and Lawson drives it in hard to turn 1, and he looks like he might have got Nanny in the door as they battle for 3rd. Here they come into turns 3 and 4. Jake Miller leads him down. Christopher Heller's right behind him. Will they make it to the stripe before they get a caution? They will. Jake Miller takes the white flag. Jake Miller in the number 4 machine. Heller's right behind him. Heller's looking to possibly make a move. Can we see a possible bump and run in the last corner? Jake Miller dives it into 3 and 4. Heller's not close enough. And Jake Miller comes off turn 4, and he'll be the winner of the Paddy Engineering 175. What a race and a great finish. Great job by Miller, able to get the job done and finish it off with the victory. As Gavin Fitzgerald looked like he wrecked across the line in the number 14 machine. A couple of guys on a last-second incident, it looks like, coming out of turn 4.
I got to give credit to Ashton Lawson for that one, for ending up in that 4th spot. I did not think that those 2 tires would work out. I think the cautions fell right for him, but man, that was still a bold call from him, considering he had about a 3rd or 4th place truck regardless. So,
oh, it was a pretty nasty incident. I couldn't tell who that was on the outside of Gavin Fitzgerald, but it looked like he either got completely sideways or possibly just thinking he was clear of Gavin and turned left. Couldn't really tell from the angle. But a heavy incident for Gavin, as the number 4 of Jake Miller is currently burning the house down here in Richmond, Virginia, as Jake Miller gets his first victory on the season. Fantastic, great. Oh, he blew it up. We need that we need that motor, Jake. We need that motor for later in the season.
Nah, that's all right.
You know,
We supply him with brand new motors every week. He's going to go get it done.
Money grow on trees or something? What, do you think this is a video game? Oh, wait. Okay. We're going to try to get some interviews here for you, possibly. Our top 3 guys tonight were Jake Miller, Christopher Heller, and Daniel Nanny. Give you the rest of the top 10 real quick. Ashton Lawson, as Elliott was mentioning, coming home in the 4th spot. Matthew Durr able to come home with the top 5 on those fresh tires. Michael Sensi, your points leader at the end of the night, finishes 6th. Jacob Manning comes home 7th. Shane Neiswanger with a good finish in 8th. I thought his day was done for sure. Kyle Munson coming home 9th, and Eric Kep able to come home with the top 10. Mr. Pink. Alex, what did you think of today's race?
Well, this is certainly not the Richmond race that I expected it to be. Typically, this racetrack is one to promote long green flag runs, and then it typically devolves towards the end of the race. But the whole time, we had a lot of hard battling, crashes, and even X Games stunts. It was definitely fun to watch.
It was definitely a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun up here in the booth, and I think a lot of drivers had fun out down there as well, but I think a lot of drivers also did not have a lot of fun. But I know which driver had the most fun, and that was Jake Miller, your self-proclaimed season 4 champion. But I'm gonna send it down to you, Alex, who I think might have an interview for us.
All right, yep, we've got our top 3 up here in the waiting room, so let's try and drag in our 3rd place finisher for tonight. Let's get Daniel Manny, our 3rd place finisher, and one of the big roller coaster stories of the night. You went from being at the front of the field early in the race to being in the back, getting in multiple wrecks, and still you ended up with a 3rd place finish. How'd you do it?
Well, I tell you what, cautions. All the cautions that happened really helped me get to 3rd place, and everybody pitting in front of me also helped me get 3rd place because, to be honest, I don't deserve to be up there. I called a lot of cautions myself. I made some stupid bonehead moves, and well, I don't know how. I'm actually speechless how I got 3rd, and I'm still kicking myself for pitting all by myself after that 2nd or 3rd caution, I believe it was.
Yeah, we were believing that that strategy to pit there and how the caution came out was initially fantastic, and then we found out that you were the one involved in that caution. I mean, was there a lot you could have done to avoid that one to try and keep yourself in it?
I don't know. I feel like I came up and endorsed him the guy, and I don't know if he came down on me. It could have been just both of us coming up and down on each other. But I don't know. It was a pretty heated moment for me because I was upset with myself, just pitting by myself like that.
Well, obviously we got to talk about the good parts of the race before we talk about any bad. And obviously late in the race, you pit, you had that last set of tires that you put on, it looked like, and you drove through the field. Now, you had a lot of damage on the truck from all those incidents. Now, how was that affecting you as you were trying to get past a lot of people?
Well, I mean, most of the people I passed was due to them pitting, but well, it was, I think I had a little bit of engine damage. My truck wasn't as fast as it was in the beginning of the race, but fortunately, a few cars did a few different pit strategies, and I think Ashton was on 2 tires instead of 4, so I was able to get around him on the outside in the last 2 laps. And, well, yeah, the damage don't really play that much of a factor on short track, but I did feel it hurt a little bit.
All right, and then of course we saw you get into a lot of incidents tonight, and I got to ask the question of, you'd made a lot of people upset tonight. Now, how does that affect you going in the next week?
All I can say is, whatever happened, happened at this point. I admit it, I was driving like a bit of a bonehead, so to anybody I wreck, I apologize to them, and well, I own up to it, and hopefully we can all just move on, and I won't be mad if I get wrecked next week.
All right, we'll be watching out. Let's hope everybody treats each other nice and fair and not carry it too long over. Thank you for coming in, Daniel, and good job on the finish.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's try and drag in our 2nd place finisher for tonight, Christopher Heller. Hello, Christopher Heller, our 2nd place finisher and front runner for most of the night. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Well, we definitely had quite the experience of a race. We had a lot to look out for, some interesting stuff going on, but you kind of stayed out of most of it the whole time. And what was it like to, stay at the front while the wrecks were happening?
I'm just glad I was up there, so I could avoid the wrecks. But I definitely fell back and I started getting a little worried. But then I got a good restart on one of the restarts, and I was able to get back up there. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, early on in the race, you were doing a lot of battling with Daniel Nanny, and then later on in the race, eventually Jake Miller comes in and he's fast as hell, and eventually he gets by you, and I mean, he looked to be hard to beat. Was there a lot you could really do to beat him tonight?
I just needed more laps and I needed less yellows, honestly, to even have a shot. I was trying to save my tires on that last kind of longer run we had in the middle of that caution cycle we had. But I don't know. When you have all those yellows, there's not much you can really do other than just keep trying.
Did you eventually end up having to change your mindset after all those cautions and what you had to do to try and battle these guys?
I started changing my mindset with about 13 to go. I think that was like second to last yellow that we had, and I just started attacking a little bit more, but Jake definitely worked with me a little bit tonight, so I wasn't gonna hit him or anything to win this race. So sometimes, having these type of alliances definitely help out. So I'm glad Jake was able to get the win tonight.
Well, glad you had a nice friendly battle up there at the front. It was definitely what we were looking out for whenever it was happening, and while all the chaos happened behind you, you stayed nice and clean. So good job, Christopher. Gotta
Yep.
ask you, is there anybody you gotta thank for it?
Oh yeah, I'd like to thank you guys for the broadcast. Thank 2511 tonight with all the guys on the team. It's unfortunate that Jordan got caught up in a bunch of stuff tonight. I'm kind of sad for him, but yeah, I thank the parents. Yeah, thank the whole league as a whole. Got to thank Sam and Eric for running the league. I enjoy coming down and running it every so often. And it's going to be a while before I'm going to be back, so I'm going to say good luck to Elliott next week, and then Nathan Nicholson after that, and I think Brandon's in the car after that, so I'm not entirely sure. I'd have to look back at our little schedule that we got going. So, yeah, that's it.
All right, well, thank you for coming in, Christopher Heller, and good job on the run.
Yep, thank you.
All right, and our winner for tonight, we're gonna be pulling in Jake Miller. Oh wow, hello! You had quite the race. Very verbal on the radio. I could tell there was a lot of emotion going on throughout the night. And how was it?
It was really fun. I really like having a fun time while I'm leading the race. And this is like the first time all season that when I actually lead a race, I end up not getting screwed over by some stupid caution.
Well, you just talk about stupid cautions. There was a lot of cautions tonight, as a matter of fact. You were very verbal about most of them. I mean, what was going on in your brain every single time a caution came out while you were leading?
Well, I was pulling away basically when I got in the lead every time, and it's frustrating when you sit there and you get, 10 cautions. But the thing was, the cautions weren't at key laps or key moments where we had to pit. So, I mean, it just really didn't matter because if you were in the lead on a restart, nobody was going to get you.
Would you say that was a defining factor for tonight, was being in the lead on those restarts?
Yeah, and I think the one restart where I was in second and we went into turn one, and I actually had a really good restart, and I was able to get my nose out in front of Ashton and get the lead back before the 5 more cautions happened. I think it was like around lap 150 or something. I think that was the defining moment.
Yeah, that definitely changed up the race for us. Was Ashton staying on 2 tires, and it looked like it could have been real risky there when you guys went 3 wide, but the caution came out, stayed nice and clean, and even after every caution after that, you still managed to stay out front without much contention and win the race. So good job on that.
Yeah, I am. I'm not sure how we made it through that 3 wide on the backstretch, but iRacing didn't give me the lead, so that sucks. But that could have ended really bad. But I'm really happy nobody wrecked from that.
Yeah, you survived, you lived, you didn't start out front. You actually started a little bit back, but you still dragged it up to the front, and you came out to win the race. So I gotta ask you, who do you have to thank for that?
My Uncle Rod, as usual. Pretty sure my team owner was in the broadcast booth today, like he is every week. So, just those guys. Oh, my girlfriend, she wanted to say hi, but she's in the bathroom, so she can't do that right now. So, it's unfortunate for her.
Well, everybody's trying to talk. They're trying to get their TV time on the most popular split-second broadcasting. So I'm glad you had a fun time out there, Jake. You definitely made it a bit interesting. So glad for you to come in, and congrats on the win.
Thank you. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. And then lastly, I would have liked to pull in Matthew Durr. It seems we're missing him for tonight, but we're going to be talking to our split-second broadcasting associate who had another roller coaster ride tonight. We're going to be looking at Gavin Fitzgerald tonight. Gavin, how was the race?
A lot of ups and downs, really. It was a tough race. I messed up my qualifying, so we had to start in the back. Definitely put us on the back foot there, and had an awful start to the race. But we came back and rallied for a good 14th place finish tonight.
Yeah, you got involved in quite a few things early in the race, and then it looked like you were coming up a little bit through the middle, and then you got involved in some more incidents, and yet still somehow you ended up front. But you ended up spinning across the line. What happened there?
I mean, from my point of view, I mean, there was a bit of contact. The 40, I think, lost it coming into the corner, and then it just kind of caused a bit of a stack up, and I went on the apron to avoid it, but I only got the lefts on the apron, so I was really loose coming off the corner. I didn't watch it. I'm going to choose not to watch it, to be honest with you. It just feels like the 74 just made a hard left down into me, and we ended up spinning across the line. We should have finished probably 12th. Top 10 was really out of reach at that point when Eric and Matt and all them came through with the new tires, but all things considered, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah, you didn't have the most ideal day, and it definitely, I imagine, personally, I would have felt that it might have been a bit frustrating, but how was it from your perspective?
Oh, you can ask the guys in my Spectrum team chat. I was not a happy camper for the first half of that race. I was losing my mind. I was very, very unhappy with a lot of the driving I saw in the back half of the field today.
For those of us that get a little bit upset and angry during these races, I got a question. How do you keep your head down and still keep going and try and keep yourself level-headed after what was a struggling night?
Well, just to be honest with you, I thought back to all the other races we've had this year. Daytona doesn't really count. The Daytona, in my opinion, is more of a throwaway race. The Daytona road course, I was really expecting to struggle in qualifying, and I almost missed out on qualifying, and I put a lap down at the last second that put us in 6th, and we had a good run there. And in Homestead, I was awful. I had a bad qualifying run. I had a bad start, and at the end of the race, I drove my way up to 4th. So I just thought back and thought, it's not unfamiliar territory driving up through the field here to get a solid finish. So I guess the thought that, yeah, I've done this before, I can do it again, really helped settle me down once I got into a rhythm.
Well, you had a decent result tonight, even despite all that happened, and it's a shame that you spun across the line, lost a couple spots. You didn't lose too many, so gotta say, who do you gotta thank for the survival?
Long list. I gotta thank Giant Tiger, my parents, for being on the truck. They've been on the truck most of the races this season. Well, all the races this season. Last week I ran one for my hockey league, which didn't get much attention because I wrecked out halfway through. But yeah, they've been on the truck all year. They're going to be on the truck all year. Spectrum Racing, Eric Kepf, RJ Williams for putting together the great group of guys we have. Good learning environment there from a lot of those guys. I have a lot of my success to, thank to them. They've all helped me a lot. Hunter, Barb, Ashton's been our affiliate. Got to thank them. Wouldn't be where I am without those guys right now.
Gotta thank everybody helps you get to where you are. Thank you, Gavin, and good job on making it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we close out our very fun show at Richmond Raceway tonight, Kyle and Elliott, how about we talk about what's going on with the schedule?
Okay, we're gonna talk about the schedule a little bit. We're 7 races into the schedule. We have 8 more races until we get to the playoffs. Next week we head to Darlington in the trucks. Then we got COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Then the week after that we got Charlotte. Then we go to Texas. Then we go to New Hampshire, Pocono, Hockenheim, and then it looks like we go to Chicagoland to end out the playoffs, end out the regular season before the playoffs. So definitely some more opportunities for some of these guys to possibly get into victory lane, like a Justin Mons. Some of these drivers that might be struggling when it comes to points, able to get a win and get into those top 12 guys for the playoffs. This was a big night when it came to points. A lot of our points leaders having issues tonight. Michael Sensi is going to leave this race with the points lead, I'm pretty sure. And Shane Neiswanger still right outside that bubble, as he did have a top 10 run, but Ashton Lawson, who was on the bubble, getting a top 5. Great run from him. As you're looking at the pre-race points, those were the points coming in tonight. Madalena, Sensi, and Nanny locked in, and Jake Miller can add his name to that list as the 4th guy to lock himself into the playoffs. That's going to change up the bubble a little bit, as I think it's going to put Matthew Durr now on the bubble, actually. So definitely a lot to look forward to for the remainder of the regular season, approaching the playoffs here in a couple weeks. Next week here in the trucks, we will be at Darlington. And then here on Thursday, we'll be at Auto Club Speedway for the Cup cars for the Great Lakes Cup Series. Same place, same time. Elliott, got anything to say to the fans?
I think, we're going to see some great racing coming up. Darlington last season was a ton of fun. A lot of fun moments, a lot of crazy moments with the lead pack and group of guys. So I expect nothing less. I expect an insane show on a track that's really hard to pass at. And Hockenheim, I believe you said it's right after that, is no joke, or maybe it's Coda or something. But yeah, there's a mess of a schedule coming up, and Sam and Eric did a good job putting something together that's not too easy, not too hard, but definitely a little crazy. So it'll be fun to see how these guys navigate these next few weeks as we get ever closer to that playoff bubble and that playoff starts. So we'll see which 12 end up in, but like you said, we've locked in a third of them now, so we'll see who else of those 8 guys will be able to solidify their names in the coming races.
I appreciate every single one of y'all that tune in every week to watch the Great Lakes Truck Series presented by Patty Engineering. It's getting better every week. The fields are getting stronger, the races are getting better, and we're only halfway through the regular season. As Elliott mentioned, only around a third way through the season in general, as we have the playoffs starting in week 16 at Michigan. I would like to thank y'all once again for tuning in, and have a great night. And once again, congratulations to Jake Miller on winning the Patty Engineering 175 at Richmond Raceway. We will see you either next week at Darlington for the trucks, or we'll see you on Thursday at Auto Club Speedway for the Great Lakes Cup Series. Good night, y'all, and thank you for tuning in.